From the Astrodome in Houston, Texas, it's the 3-11 New York Jets against the 5-9 Houston Oilers. Some tears in Houston today from the small contingent on hand in the Astrodome for what is in all probability the last Houston Oiler football game in this city. This team apparently headed to Tennessee for the 1996 season. Hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Lampley, along with the fabulous Bobby G, Bob Golick. Both teams hoping to answer some questions looking to next year today, Bob. And for the Jets, the biggest question, what to do at quarterback with Boomer Esiason.
Well, after Boomer went down with a concussion mid-season, they put Glenn Foley, their second-year quarterback, into the starter. Well, he went down with an injury, separated shoulder, and Boomer Esiason pretty much let the ownership know that he wasn't thrilled that he was the guy being yanked out. Maybe he'll try and work his way back into the Jets lineup next year.
As for the Oilers, they focused today not on their departure from this city, but on the arrival of their star rookie quarterback, Steve McNair.
Yeah, and people have been calling for Steve McNair's name for all season long. I don't know. I think that may be a good opportunity for him this week. That's a good thing they let him sit out. But with the couple of things happen, Chris Chandler down with mononucleosis, and also it's pretty much a no-lose situation. He let the young guy get in and start to get some experience.
Rich Kotite will be hoping to snap a streak of 4 consecutive Jet losses to the Oilers in this series. And Jeff Fisher of Houston, in his first full year as head coach, got his first victory as an NFL head coach against the Jets here in the Astrodome at the end of the season last year. Deep to receive, Mel Gray, number 21, and Todd McNair, number 48 for the Oilers, as the Jets kickoff specialist Don Silvestri prepares to boot it away. Jets at 3-11, locked up with Jacksonville for worst record in the NFL, and with a chance to be picking number 1 in next year's draft. Part of that will depend on what happens today for the Oilers and McNair. Gray from near the goal line gets it back across the 30 to about the 31-yard line. So it'll be reasonably good field position for the Oilers and Air McNair as he starts a game for the very first time. Offensive line for the Oilers, 2 Pro Bowlers. Bruce Matthews for the 8th consecutive year, and Mark Stepnoski, the former Cowboy, will also go. Backs and receivers, you see that the Oilers will have 3 rookies on the field much of the time. Thomas and Sanders have been great finds for this team. Often they'll go to a 3 tight end formation to help protect McNair, with Norgard, a guard, moving out to play tight end, wearing his regular number 64, and with Marion Butts as the lone setback behind McNair in that formation. Gary Brown, number 33, begins the game at tailback for the Oilers, and Brown, the star of 1993 for Houston, carries for a gain of about 3 before Mo Lewis, number 57, knocks him down for the Jets. The front 4 and linebackers for the Jets. This has been a very tough defense since Marvin Jones came back to middle linebacker 10 weeks ago, and Lewis moved back to his natural position at weak side outside linebacker. In the secondary, Otis Smith has been a big surprise with 6 interceptions, tying Houston's Darrell Lewis for leadership in the conference. When they go to the nickel, former Colorado quarterback Vance Joseph is the 5th defensive back. On 2nd down 7 for the Oilers, it's Brown again, and the Oilers demonstrate their desire to keep the football on the ground in the early going and keep the pressure off McNair. Mark Spindler, number 93, makes the tackle for the Jets as Gary Brown moves toward a first down.
Well, Rodney Thomas is the guy that they've had in all season long. He worked his way in, I should say, as the season progressed, had a very good year. But Gary Brown, who had a great year for him last year, is a guy that they want to try and get back into the lineup again. And he'll probably get as many snaps today as Rodney Thomas.
Jeff Fisher was unhappy early in the season with Brown's weight. Thought he was carrying too much of it. And with fumbles. That's part of how Thomas got his opportunity. And Thomas has a chance, if he gets playing time today, to become only the 2nd Oiler rookie running back ever to gain 1,000 yards. The first was Earl Campbell in 1978.
One of the things they say about Gary Brown is he's a left-handed ball carrier. He always carries the ball in his left hand. So a lot of times when defenders come in to tackle from that side, instead of switching like some backs do, Gary doesn't do that, thus causing some of these fumbles.
We saw that Brown earned the first down of the football game for the Oilers, and now the Jets begin to warm to the task of stopping the run, this time holding Brown to no gain on first down. Marvin Shade Tree Jones, number 54, was there along with Spindler, number 93.
And they had to figure right off two things could happen. Either they're going to try and get something exciting happening with McNair by letting him air it out, or they're going to try and establish a run game. You see that they are trying to establish a run game, thus taking off some of the pressure from Steve McNair.
Call it a gain of a yard on first down. It's 2nd down 9 from the Oiler 42. Operating from a standard one-back set. McNair fires over the middle, and it's complete to the tight end, number 89, Frank Wycheck. And Wycheck is across midfield as Victor Green wrestles him down and appears to have another Oiler first down.
Well, again, another way to get a young quarterback some confidence. Give him some high percentage throws, tossing it up to the tight end Wycheck, the left side of your screen, right there in the short underneath the zone before the linebackers can get out and react to him. Wycheck has been a guy who's been a big play guy for him this year. Really has come out at the end of games, especially when they've needed to pick up some yardage.
So McNair, who was 16 of 27 last week in second half action, completes his first pass today. Gives to Brown on first down, and Brown moves forward for a gain of about 3. Gets the football close to the Jet 45-yard line.
Well, one of the things that Jeff Fisher told us about the way he was going to attack the game today was he wanted to pound it away up front. He felt that the Jets' front was not very strong, was not very physical. He said they're good at coming off the edges. They're good at coming with good quicks on the outside, but they felt that the middle was susceptible if they could keep pounding it away.
2nd down 7. McNair well protected at the point of attack with Stepnoski and Matthews, the 2 Pro Bowlers in front of him. Kevin Donnelly, the right guard, has also had a terrific year. Jets show blitz and bring it. McNair releases to Wycheck. He breaks the tackle, gets into the open field, and inside the Jet 35 to about the 33. Bobby Houston finally brought him down. Victor Green had a chance to wrap him up for a short gain, but Wycheck broke free.
Well, they just anticipated that McNair was going to throw. They come with a blitz, trying to put some pressure. McNair not needing too much experience to read that blitz, with a quick right out there into the little short flat zone to Frank Wycheck, and Wycheck doing what he does best. Good strength as a running back working against Victor Green, or as a tight end working against Victor Green, breaking a tackle.
So the second first down of the football game for the Oilers moves the ball to the 33-yard line of the Jets. And action before the snap as Eatman and Matthews both came up out of their stances along the offensive front.
Well, you know, one of the things we talk about Bruce Matthews.
Ball start, offense number 74, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
And you brought up
talking about Bruce Matthews.
You brought this point up early about Bruce Matthews making the Pro Bowl for the 8th year. The Pro Bowl selection this year with 4 selections for the Houston Oilers, really a good lift for the Oiler team. They felt that these 4 guys getting in really showed that teams were giving the Oilers some respect despite what their record is.
They pointed out that on voting day they only had 31,000 fans here, so those players made it on the respect of opposing players and coaches. On 1st and 15, McNair flips in the flat to Brown. And Brown's ridden out of bounds by number 54, Marvin Jones, and down goes the bench.
Well, they really put themselves in a tough position here. The Jets did defensively. They blitzed Victor Green off the outside, but this requires number 54, Marvin Jones, to cover Gary Brown one-on-one, and he's just not going to have the time to get out in the flat and to make the play on it. Good throw, good catch, and a little extracurricular. Gary Brown obviously figures, you know what, I'm going to tell you my response on the field.
Now Brown will go to the far sideline. And following him is the second tight end, Roderick Lewis. And you see that the Oilers had possessed the football 8 plays, 36 yards, more than 4 minutes to begin the game. And McNair, handling the blitz effectively so far, has completed each of his first 3 passes. 2nd down 16. Last completion was for a loss of a yard to Gary Brown. And with Todd McNair blocking behind Steve McNair, he's hit nevertheless, and the pass falls short in the flat.
Well, once again, coming after McNair. The thing is, they're showing him all the blitz are coming, hoping that he's going to get a little antsy and maybe get nervous. You can see it up on the top, Mo Lewis. And Glenn had worked him out of bounds Sanders had pretty much been running the route out of bounds for the last 10-15 yards of the route, so there was no chance of completion there. But the one thing they did show is that they can get a little bit of chemistry between McNair and Sanders.
And the Oilers will elect to punt. 4th down and 31. They're 46. So Rich Camarillo, the veteran punter, comes on. Jeff Sidner, number 85, waits deep for the Jets, the 10-yard line. High kick by Camarillo. Fair catch signal from Sidner. The attempt to down it, and it goes into the end zone anyway. Number 22, Tomer Barnes, was the man who chased the football across the goal line and couldn't quite keep it in the field of play. As you look at the AFC playoff picture, Kansas City and Pittsburgh both having clinched their divisions already. Buffalo is trying to home in on an AFC East championship again. The other teams still eligible for the playoffs include those three listed there: Indianapolis, Miami, and Oakland, along with Denver, Seattle, the second page of the graphic coming up right now, San Diego and Cincinnati. Of course, the Bengals and the Seahawks and the Chargers would all need help to make it into the playoffs. These two teams are out of it.
That Miami-Buffalo game is, we're going to be getting updates all day long. Huge game for that AFC East race.
Esiason on 1st down gives to Ronald Moore, starting at tailback today. Adrian Morrell, who has been the bread and butter of the Jet offense all year, is inactive today. Along the offensive front, 4 of those starters were backups when the season began. Only Duffy has stayed in the same position all year. And among the backs and receivers, Esiason's favorite target is wide receiver rookie free agent Wayne Krebet out of Hofstra. A great story. When they go to a double tight end set, number 84, Fred Baxter, comes onto the field, joining Johnny Mitchell to become the second tight end. 2nd down, 10 yards to go at the 20 after no gain on 1st down. Esiason looking for the fumble, and the Oilers are looking for it too. And referee Mike Carey steps in, apparently ruling that Boomer was able to get on the football, but he's going to make it 3rd down 10 for the Jets.
Boy, this is not the way they'd want to start. Boomer Esiason, a very talented quarterback, but we'll see it right here. A bad exchange hits Boomer.
Houston, there is a tornado watch on here. There's a flood warning until about halftime today. There's a deluge outside. It's the last Oiler game in the Astrodome, and
I'll tell you what, Chip, there's not many times I like being inside domes. This is the good day.
Oh, that's right. Today it's not a dumb stadium, it's a dome stadium. And a protective one at that. And you can see the empty seats. The Oiler faithful turned out to bid farewell to their team, and it's the number of Oiler faithful, as demonstrated there, that prompts Bud Adams to say, we'll get a better deal in Tennessee. Average attendance here this year at the Astrodome, 36,141. As recently as 1991, it was over 60,000 per game. Wycheck in motion behind McNair on 1st down. The give is to Marion Butts, the game at tailback, and Butts, who's averaged only 2.6 yards per carry here, is again wrapped up after a very short game, this time by Matt Brock, number 94.
No, Butts, they brought in Butts mid-season, and one of the things they liked about him was that he came from San Diego's offensive system through New England and San Francisco, a couple of teams he stopped by after he left San Diego. But San Diego's system was very similar to the system that Jeff Fisher and Jerry Rome had put in here with the Houston Oilers.
Oilers working after a 20-yard punt return by Mel Gray, which was his longest of the year. 2nd and 8 after the 2-yard gain by Butts on 1st down. McNair again gives to Butts, and the Jets, thinking run all the way, bring Victor Green up from strong safety in a hurry to wrap up Butts, and it'll be 3rd down and 7 for the Oilers.
Well, as an offense, trying to establish a running game to kind of free up your passing game is one thing, but if you just keep running, eventually the defense is going to move everybody up into the line of scrimmage, and you're going to get plays like this. And you know, Victor Green making a nice hit on Marion Butts, who normally is such a powerful running back, normally would have run over a guy like Victor Green.
Jets are in an 8-man front on that particular play. If the Oilers stay this conservative in their play calling, we might see 9 men in the pit for the Jets. 3rd down, 7 with the football at the 38-yard line. McNair rolls and releases before the hit. Excellent throw and catch, number 85, Derek Russell, with 1st down yardage before he's brought down by Carpenter and Green.
A good blitz. They brought Victor Green, and number 57, Marvin Jones, came in and made a nice hit on McNair. But as we talked before, the poise and the concentration, the throw to Derek Russell, what great accuracy right between coverage.
That was Lewis, not Jones, number 57, coming in on the blitz. We'll keep working on getting those blitzers as they come all day to try to fluster McNair. As Marvin Washington of the Jets said, we'd do that to any quarterback, especially a rookie in his first start. The give is to number 20, Rodney Thomas, and Thomas, in his first carry of the game, picks his way for a couple. So it'll be 2nd down 8. The football at the 27-yard line. Make it 2nd down 9.
Well, you see some of the top rookie rushers. Rodney Thomas of the Oilers has worked his way in with 841 yards, but you know, we've seen guys in Denver. Terrell Davis, an incredible year, and Curtis Martin, who the last couple of weeks has just put up 120, 130, 140-yard games.
Curtis Martin's going to make it tough for Chris Warren to repeat as the rushing leader in the AFC. Warren will need a couple of big games to finish the season as he chases Martin now from behind. Oilers working on 2nd and 9 from the 27. McNair unable to get the play off. Penalty flag spell before McNair pulled out and tried to call the timeout.
The Oilers are pointing to the Jets defense. They were moving around quite a bit, trying to confuse McNair.
Before the request for the timeout, there's a false start on the offense. On the right tackle, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
It was probably the right tackle was pointing at the Jets, going, no, they didn't. Now look, you see the defense kind of scooting around, showing different looks, moving the linebackers up. Really distracts the offensive line. They've got to look, especially if it's a pass play. They've got to know who's coming. They've got to know who they've got pickup should a blitz occur. So a lot of times they're going to be moving around, get very antsy in their stance.
3rd penalty against the Oiler offense. They've added up to 25 yards worth of deficit. It becomes 2nd down 14 now for McNair and the Oilers with the football at the Jet 32. Blitz again. McNair releases down the middle. Intended receiver was number 81, Chris Sanders. Otis Smith, number 45, there on the coverage for the Jets. As we told you, he's been a find with 6 picks this year.
Once again, Mo Lewis on the outside. Marvin Jones rushing up the middle, bringing 6 guys. But a great throw. And Fisher said this, Jeff Fisher said this would probably be the matchup. Otis Smith against Chris Sanders, and this time Otis Smith wins.
Sanders makes circus catches. That one was just a little bit too much of a test. There's Smith. Started only 4 games in 4 years with the Eagles. But Rich Kotite brought him over from Philly to New York and has uncovered his talent. On 3rd down, McNair's pass is batted down. And so now the Oilers once again reach 4th down in long yardage, 4th and 14, as Marvin Washington was the man who batted the football out of the air.
Well, watch at the center of your screen, 94, Matt Brock dropping into coverage as a defensive tackle. When you blitz the linebackers as much as the Jets are doing right now, you've got to have somebody to cover the underneath zones. What they do is they drop a defensive tackle off into that zone just to kind of occupy space.
Al Del Greco having another outstanding season, 22 of 26. 4th best percentage in the league. His misses have the longest average in the league. And this try from 49 yards out is down the middle and over the crossbar. So Del Greco has given the Oilers a 3-0 first quarter lead over the Jets. The NFL on NBC continues.
Changes forever. And by McDonald's. Have you had your break today?
Bring it back to the Astrodome, where Al Del Greco has just nailed a 49-yard field goal for the Oilers, giving Air, McNair, and the Oilers a 3-0 lead over the Jets. 4:55 to go in the first. Del Greco's kickoff is taken by Carpenter. Rich Kotite loves his kickoff return man, and you see why as Carpenter breaks 2 tackles, getting across the 30 to the 32. So we'll bring you back to the Astrodome. The NFL on NBC will continue with the score 3-0 Houston after this. The Buffalo Bills are trying to wrap up another AFC East Division championship, which they can do with the win today. They lead the Dolphins 3-0 in the first quarter, identical to our score here, and we'll keep you up to date on that game as this one progresses. On 1st down for the Jets, Esiason is dragged down from behind by number 92, Henry Ford, the second-year defensive end out of Arkansas.
And one of the problems that Rich Kotite told us about that offense is he didn't feel he had very strong tackles. Now watch number 77, Matt Willig working here up against Henry Ford. Ford just works right past him as Boomer Esiason tries to bootleg through, but it's the quickness of Ford that's able to chase Boomer down.
Jets have had trouble with speed rushers all year. Ford hasn't had a big year rushing the passer. Houston regards itself as being desperately in need of a game-breaking pass rusher, but Ford got his 4th sack of the year there working against Willig. So now it's second down 22 with the football at the 20. Esiason again is dropped behind the line. This time it's number 96, rookie defensive tackle Gary Walker.
Now we talked to Gary Walker yesterday, very excited to get in there. He stepped in for the injured Ray Donaldson and has done a wonderful job. You see 96 the left side of your screen, just working up against his man one-on-one, been able to free himself up. And the good thing about that sack is there was good pressure from the outside, which gave Boomer really no place to run.
Second career sack for Walker, who's been a starter for 7 weeks, having moved into the lineup to replace Houston legend Ray Childress. Walker, a rookie out of Auburn. Third down and 30 with the football at the 12. Yarborough in motion toward Esiason. Boomer without much time flips down the middle to Mitchell, and Mitchell will be wrapped up immediately as number 23, Pro Bowler Blaine Bishop, was there first, and Michael Barrow came on to apply the brakes with it.
Well, that was just nothing except getting themselves out of the shadow of the goal line. They just wanted to move that ball out. You're going to see Boomer drop back, and Mitchell just crossing from the right side of your screen, wide open and underneath zone. But, you know, face it, the Oilers defense gave it to them. They knew that they needed a ton of yardage to pick up the first. They're going to give them the underneath zone and give them the completion.
So now Brian Hansen will take the snap inside his 5. He's already established a Jet season record for most punts, accomplished it in 14 games, and that's not a good sign for your offense. Mel Gray, coming off his longest punt return of the year, 20 yards, has another chance here. Seam on the right side of the field, good block in front, and Gray is again across midfield into Jet territory to the 47-yard line. So the Oilers continue to maintain very good field position for rookie quarterback Steve McNair. NBA on Christmas Day should be a thriller, as always.
As the NFL winds down, the NBA cranks it up.
First down for the Oilers from the Jet 47 after a 19-yard Mel Gray punt return. The give is to Gary Brown, and Brown, hoping to reestablish himself as a key figure in the Oiler running game, has a gain of about 8. Let's go to New York and check in with Greg Gumbel.
All right, Jim, in Detroit, the Lions, the owners of the #1 offense in the NFC, are rolling again. Scott Mitchell, his 29th touchdown pass of the season, a 23-yarder to Johnny Morton. The Lions lead Jacksonville 10-0 in the first. Jim?
Scott Mitchell, a hot quarterback, and a lot of quarterbacks would say, hey, put me with Herman Moore and Brett Perriman and Barry Sanders, and let's see what my numbers are going to be. Brown on second down moves for a first down to the Jet 35. Victor Green and Gary Jones, the two safeties, making the stop for New York. Who's going to stop the Lions?
I'll tell you what, they have been the surprise, and people talked about that whole post-Thanksgiving Day thing, and I would say, yeah, right, but it really and truly has come to pass. Mitchell has really learned how to hook up with Herman Moore and Brett Perriman. Takes the pressure off of Barry Sanders, that's for sure.
They're also getting the ball to Sanders a little bit more, swinging him in the passing game more frequently, and it's really paying off for them. Now McNair on 1st and 10 from the 35 as the Oilers try to build on a 3-0 lead. Minute and 30 remaining in the first quarter. Clock ticking. Jets showing blitz, bringing it. And Brown finds a closed hole in the running game. It's number 21, Victor Green, who's made 155 tackles coming in for the Jets to lead that team in tackling. Continues to play very physical football today.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, that shows the youth of McNair. Watch the defense. As the snap of that ball, there was everybody except number 25, Gary Jones, was on the line of scrimmage. Victor Green had come up late, so they had everybody in the line. A quarterback at that point, you'd think would audible to something other than a run up the middle. A short pass, something, one of those short zones that have been vacated by the guys moving up to the line of scrimmage.
So I suggested we might see 9 in the box, and the Jets bypassed that and went for 10 in the box.
That's right.
Blitzing again on second down 10. Oilers pick it up. Wide open downfield is Haywood Jeffries, and it's an Oiler touchdown. Air McNair's second touchdown pass to go with the 39-yarder he threw to Sanders last week. Otis Smith beaten on the play by Haywood Jeffries.
Nice route by Haywood Jeffries. He took it down to about 10, 15 yards and broke it to the outside. Really sold it like that was going to be the end of his route. Otis Smith went with him. All of a sudden, Haywood, boom, he turned upfield and just left Otis Smith standing in his dust.
34-yard touchdown reception for Jeffries, who's the second leading receiver all time for the Oilers. And McNair has gotten a confident start here in his first NFL starting assignment.
Well, I mean, he's worked at getting the guys up on the line of scrimmage. He did that. Now he's opened it up a little bit, so he's really trying to keep the Jets defense on their toes.
The headset to whom McNair was talking was Jerry Rome, rapidly becoming a legendary quarterback coach in the NFL. Del Greco to add the PAT, knocks it up and through, and with 38 seconds still to go in the first quarter, Air McNair and Haywood Jeffries have connected from 34 yards out to extend a 3-0 Oiler lead to 10-0 over the Jets.
And as I said, watch on the right side of your screen, Haywood Jeffries just turns and makes a move to the outside. You can't see it there, but then breaks it straight upfield, leaving Otis Smith just sitting there pulling up his socks. But man, and a good move by McNair too to get himself out of the pocket, take some of the pressure off of the rush. Wide open to Haywood Jeffries.
And the good news about Otis Smith of the Jets is the 6 interceptions so far this year. Maybe Steve McNair came in knowing that Smith had allowed 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games, so make it 4 now in the last 3.
Well, he really has come along strong. And, you know, and I like what they did with him, Jim. A lot of people complained about the fact that he wasn't brought in and wasn't made a part of this offense right away. But, you know, there's so many young quarterbacks, you've got to wonder, have they been damaged, you know, like a Rick Meyer, like a Drew Bledsoe? Have they been damaged by too much pressure too early? I mean, they don't seem to be responding and coming back off of bad seasons. So by having Steve McNair sit back, just bide his time. I mean, Jeff Fisher told us he'd practice. He would stand behind the offense and just sit and watch everything that went on, just biding his time.
Well, it's not as if this team has been getting poor play at quarterback, as Del Greco's kickoff sails to Carpenter. Check it, Ronald Moore inside the 10, and Moore has it across the 20 to about the 22. They've been getting good quarterbacking from Chris Chandler, but Chandler has finally succumbed to mononucleosis. So last week, McNair came on to play the second half against the Lions. And as the crowd rose to its feet to welcome him onto the field, on his very first pass, he was belted to the turf by Antonio London of the Lions, kind of a welcome to the NFL thing. And then only a couple minutes later, he threw that 39-yard touchdown to Chris Sanders to get his feet wet as a touchdown passer in the NFL, and now he's got 2.
A good start. 2 games, 2 touchdowns.
There are the numbers on the day so far for McNair, working against a relentless Jets blitz and so far handling it pretty well. On first down for the Jets, Krebet goes in motion. The give is to Ronald Moore. And Moore, you see him wrapping the football with both arms. He's been bothered by fumbles this year, 3 in his first 32 carries. He gets about 3 before Gary Walker knocks him down for the Jets.
Ronald Moore is a guy that they're going to be calling on today to carry a lot of the running load with Adrian Morrell out of the game. Morrell, you know, their big running guy, but this with him out, really going to change the complexion of this game.
First quarter comes to a close for Boomer and the Jets in Houston. They trail 10-0. With the Oilers leading the Jets 10-0. Couple of nomad teams. You have the Jets, who live and train on Long Island and then travel to New Jersey to play in Giant Stadium, against the Oilers, who are living here in Houston and looking forward to their lives in Tennessee next year.
And both these teams right now talking about just going out there and playing for pride and trying to keep some things going, get their enthusiasm up, and focus on just finishing strong.
Jets with 2nd down and 7 as the second quarter begins at the 25-yard line. And the give is to Brad Baxter, the fullback, and Baxter picks his way for first down yardage. Quickly, let's check in with Greg Gumbel in New York again. Greg?
All right, Jim, a day of high emotions in Cleveland, and the Browns draw first blood. First play of the second quarter, Vinny Testaverde, 1-yard touchdown pass to Frank Hartley with the extra point. Cleveland leads Cincinnati 7-0, Jim.
What a memory it would create. the Browns were to win their last game in Cleveland Stadium. Bob, you think that the players care about that at this point?
I think some of the guys do, some of the older guys that have been around, and I can just imagine the emotion going through that stadium today, the entire city today.
Spoken by Clevelander. On first down, the give is to Moore, and Moore's hit by Gary Walker after a gain of a couple. Blaine Bishop also there to participate in the stop. Oilers are so proud that Bishop is going to the Pro Bowl because he does it without gaudy numbers in interceptions. He has led the team in tackles, but as the Oiler personnel said to us yesterday, for him to go, they had to recognize the little things he's been doing out there.
That's exactly right. That's one of the things that the team, one of the reasons the team is so excited about the fact that they had these Pro Bowl selections, especially Bishop. It meant that the other teams respected them, that they, regardless of what their record was, they're looking at them and really looking at them and kind of grading them for their talent.
Esiason down the middle. Complete to 84, Fred Baxter, the number 2 tight end. Odie Harris makes the stop, but first down yardage for Baxter into Oiler territory.
Oh, good shot for Boomer. You're just going to see Baxter just on the right side of your screen, just going to cross here right at about 15 yards. Nice route cleared out underneath by one of the backs coming out of the backfield, but he needs to get that. He needs to start getting some kind of momentum. So far, they haven't been able to put any kind of drive together.
He didn't look like a dead-armed quarterback there. And the label has been attached to him in the past few years. In the first quarter, the Jets were -11 offensively, so this is their first significant lose of the game. Esiason with the play fake, throws in the flat to Baxter. Excellent open field tackle by Chuck Cecil, number 26.
A good blitz to put the pressure on Boomer initially, but Boomer getting the ball off, and Chuck Cecil really playing hard. Watch Cecil on the right side of your screen. After Boomer drops this ball off, Chuck Cecil, knowing where the ball's going, just goes in and makes a nice low hit.
Shoulder tackle. Didn't get his helmet into it that time, Bob.
Oh, has he been listening to Gene Washington?
Cecil must be learning a new game.
He doesn't want to get fined.
Cause celeb at Arizona with Buddy Ryan.
I think the last person worried about getting fined for a hit is Chuck Cecil.
On second down, the give is to Moore. And Moore is caught by Joe Bowden and wrestled out of bounds. And it'll be third down and long for the Jets.
Well, that Oiler defense has really been up front. Has been having some problems with Ray Childress out, getting knocked out early, mid-season. So they've really had to kind of scramble to get the defense rearranged up front and to keep applying pressure to quarterbacks. There you see Ray Childress. Talked to him yesterday. He had his shoulder surgery about 3 weeks ago. They reattached a ligament on the upside of his shoulder, and also his bicep tendon evidently was partially torn, so they had to do some repairs there. But he showed me that he can already raise his arm to shoulder level.
On third down, Esiason gets away from one man and throws almost picked off in the hands of Eddie Robinson, and Robinson, had he held on and kept his feet, could have gone a distance. Wayne Crevette was the intended receiver, and it was Tomer Barnes, number 22, who was in on top of Esiason.
Right, watch the poise by Boomer as he just sidesteps Barnes and just drops the ball off, but Eddie Robinson right there, and it wasn't even really Robinson reacting to the play. He was just sitting in his zone and just went and made the play for the ball.
So the Jets come unglued on third down, and it'll be fourth down, a punting situation. Brian Hansen on to kick for the third time. First two have averaged 45, and Mel Gray has gotten 39 yards worth of returns out of the first two. Gray will call the fair catch and make it on this one near the 15-yard line. So for the first time in the game, Steve McNair will have to operate for the Oilers deep in Houston territory. They lead 10-0. And Boomer Esiason discussing Jet offense, so far limited in the Astrodome. But now, after a good punt by Brian Hansen, the Oilers are forced to start from their 15-yard line, and this is the closest the Jets have gotten today to putting any pressure on Steve McNair. First down to give, though, to Rodney Thomas. And Thomas, the rookie running star, bursts out to the 25 before Victor Green makes the stop.
Well, defensively for the Jets right now, they've got to get separation. Watch the linebackers and the defensive line get up and lock in real good on the offensive lineman, but they don't get separation from their blocks. At that point, the back is going to find a crease. There's going to be a crease there somewhere. If you don't get away from the guy blocking you, there's no way you're going to be able to stop the running back.
Object lesson on that play as to why number 74 Matthews and number 53 Stepnoski are both headed to the Pro Bowl. They're the ones who opened the wide lane for Rodney Thomas. On 1st and 10 after Thomas's 10-yard gain. The give is again to Thomas, and this time Marvin Jones wraps him up after a gain of about 3. What a season Marvin Jones has had at middle linebacker for the Jets.
Well, they say this guy is the heart and soul of this team. He came back from an injury. It was like a breath of fresh air for that defense. He is the leader. He is the guy that kind of gets it all together for that defense. So they need him in there to kind of coordinate things.
Hobbled all last year by a badly sprained right ankle. He still accounted for more than 100 tackles last year. Sprained that ankle again just on the eve of the regular season this year and missed the first 6 weeks. The give on 2nd down to Thomas, and Thomas cutting back is unable to get to the hole. Hugh Douglas, number 99, is there to put a hand on the jersey and stop Thomas's forward progress, and now McNair and company must deal with 3rd and 7 from the 28.
A good job by Douglas. We talked to Hugh Douglas yesterday, a rookie out of Central State in Ohio, and he nice pursuit. Normally with a young guy like that, you're going to get him just running too fast, just chasing, just going crazy, trying to make every play, but he was patient on the backside, waiting for that cutback, and he makes a nice play.
Pass rusher's body on Hugh Douglas. Lean and quick from the waist up. Massive caboose for the drive into the offensive line.
I was wondering how you could explain that one.
3rd down 7. It is some caboose. Mo Lewis knocks the ball away from McNair. Free football, and Steve McNair is able to get on it and retain possession for the Oilers. The Jets had a potential big break there in front of them, but neither Lewis nor his compatriot, Marvin Washington, could find the ball.
But watch 57, Mo Lewis working against nobody. Brad Hopkins, number 72, got locked up inside working against Matt Brock, and just didn't even pick up Mo Lewis. But look at the poise and concentration by McNair. Just instead of going down, just taking the time, trying to fight his way up to make sure he found out where the ball was and trying to recover his own fumble.
Good fortune played a role too, along with poise and concentration.
Yeah, as the ball
did kind of bounce up to him, you know. Deep to kick it for the Oilers is Rich Camarillo. Jeff Sidner takes it at his 31. And Sidner is free along the sideline. Appeared for a moment to have gone down and finally got away into Oiler territory at about the 48-yard line before number 55, John Henry Mills, was able to make the stop for the Oilers.
Food, unusually easy to drink. You are your own dog.
In potentially the last NFL game to be played in the Astrodome, 8 minutes 43 seconds remain before halftime. Houston Oilers leading 10-0. Jets begin this possession with their best field position yet. First down at the 48-yard line. Actually, officially call it 47 for Esiason and company. Corbett in motion. And Esiason throws in the flat to Ronald Moore. Moore is met and dropped on an excellent open field tackle by Pro Bowl alternate cornerback Chris Dishman. The Jets, Bob Golick pointing out yesterday, they have the youngest football team in the NFL.
Yeah, I think that they have like 11 rookies on the team this year, and you know, so there's a lot of young guys that need to start getting incorporated. Hey, I'll tell you what, Rich Kotite told us when he came in this year, there needed to be a lot to be cleaned out of that team.
Wonder what's bothering Dishman. Dishman waiting amiably on the field with a smile on his face as he waited for the training staff to join him, and as they work for him or with him, we take a look at some of the Jets' key rookies. You can see that Corbett and Douglas in particular have had excellent first years. So has Chaz Cascadden on the special teams. Kyle Brady got off to a hot start, then has slowed considerably in the last 7 weeks.
But Rich Kotite told us that Corbett's story is kind of like Rudy. He said, you know, if you bring 14 or 15 wide receivers into camp, he's going to be number 14 or 15. But he just, as the season went on, the training camp and preseason went on, there were more and more people running bad routes. There were more and more drop passes. And finally, he became the guy that really hooked up with Boomer Esiason.
You can see that Brady is out of uniform today, as is the key to the Jet running game. Leading rusher and receiver on the team, halfback Adrian Morrell.
I'll tell you what, I felt bad for Kyle Brady. Did you see on draft day when the Jets announced that he was the pick, the Jets fans were actually at draft headquarters didn't seem real thrilled that he was the guy that was being picked up. And what a kind of innocuous way to start your career with a team.
Yes, but virtually any Jet #1 draft pick must be warned in advance to expect that. Because the fans know what has happened year after year to Jets #1 picks. On 2nd down 10, Esiason's pass is caught this time by Brad Baxter. And another good open field tackle, this one by Joe Bowden of the Oilers. And it'll make it 3rd down. Eddie Robinson was the man who came in and caught Esiason as Boomer released the football.
And Boomer's just shaking his head. He can't believe what happened. But Eddie Robinson, the right side of your screen to the bottom, just left wide open. Number 76, James Brown, supposed to be there to make the block on him. Didn't get out enough. Didn't have enough quicks. And that's kind of the problem that Rich Kotite faces. His offensive tackles just aren't fast enough and quick enough of foot to handle the speed rushers on the outside.
So will they take an offensive tackle with their high draft pick? 3rd down 11 from the 48. Esiason's throw down the middle is over Johnny Mitchell, and Mitchell never had a real chance to look for the football.
Well, I know of a pretty good Outland Trophy winner in Southern California that he might be interested in.
Offensive tackle out of UCLA named Jonathan Ogden, 6 feet 8 inches tall, big enough and quick enough to handle speed rushers, according to scouts who have had a look at him, and maybe the Jets will look in that direction early in the draft. Matt Willig, number 77, was down for a moment, but now he's up. Mel Gray is deep to receive for the Oilers as the Jets fail to do anything with their good field position opportunity, and Brian Hansen punts it away again. High hanging kick by Hansen. Gray will make the fair catch. And again, the Oilers will start from just inside their own 15-yard line. Oilers play it safe. They lead 10-0 with 7:13 to go in the half. 13 seconds to go in the quiet calm of the Astrodome.
It's eerie.
It is strange, isn't it?
The whole first quarter, just I don't think people know how to react, not knowing if for sure the Oilers are going to be here next year or not.
Well, these are diehard fans, so they'll probably stay throughout the game, regardless of how ugly it might become. And they're excited about the chance to watch number 9 in action. Steve McNair getting his first start at quarterback for Houston today. Performing well so far. On 1st down from his own 14, he wants Sanders, and Sanders almost made a circus catch and draws the flag. Unless it goes against 81, it's probably against that man, number 45, Otis Smith. 2 bad flags for interference last week against Smith in the loss to New England, and he appears to have been victimized again.
Well, first of all, a good move by Steve McNair.
Pass interference on the defense, number 45. It's a spot foul and automatic.
McNair rolling out to the right to take the pressure off, but here you're going to see at the end of the play, Chris Sanders having to pull up for the short throw. And Smith just kind of getting in there and hand fighting. I mean, a little bit incidental. I mean, both guys were fighting a little bit evenly, but from the referee's perspective. But there you see the short roll, taking that direct rush off of McNair, giving him a little extra time to throw back. Not an easy throw back across the field like that.
No, he's got an arm, that's for sure. It was a very tough call against Otis Smith. Big break for the Oilers. 1st down at the 44-yard line. The give is to Rodney Thomas, and Thomas is met by Matt Brock and Eric Howard. Brock, number 94, playing lights-out football at this stage of the season for the Jets.
Boy, he's just throwing himself around. He's made a ton of plays already today. But, early on I was talking about how the Jets weren't separated from their blocks. Now, Matt Brock is the one guy up front who really seems to be shedding his guys very well.
A week ago against the Patriots, Brock with a sack, an interception, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, and he's the first lineman this year in the NFL to put all 4 of those plays together in the same game. In fact, he's the first defensive player to put all 4 of those together. 2nd down 10. And McNair's going to throw it out of bounds. Screenplay apparently failed to develop for the Oilers. It'll be 3rd down 10 for McNair.
Yeah, they ended up manning up in coverage on the outside. The rush came a little bit faster, I think, than McNair had expected from Douglas and also from Eric Howard, number 74, up the middle. And McNair, using a little bit of poise, just decided to dump the ball away.
So it'll be 3rd down now. And 11 yards to go with the football at the 45. Actually, it should be 3rd down 10. Because the chains demonstrate clearly they need only 10 yards. First, the third down throw is complete to Derek Russell, and Russell's going to be about 5 yards short of the first down as Ron Carpenter wrestles him down.
Good job by Carpenter. Good close. As Russell was wide open to make the catch, but Carpenter just flew over there to make the play. You see this time they went with a straight rush up front, a little short roll once again, but Carpenter closing very quickly on the throw and making a nice play on Russell.
Carpenter's made a dent as a kick returner, has a chance to make his presence felt as a defensive back also. Rich Kotite very happy with him. Camarillo comes on to punt now for the Oilers. Jeff Sidner waits at his 10-yard line, and for the old pro, Camarillo, in his 15th year out of Washington, job is to try to nail the Jets deep.
Well, he was punting back when I was with the Patriots, for the Patriots.
You know, you haven't been out of the game all that long, Bob.
It just seems like
10, 15 minutes maybe?
He was kicking about 65 to 75 yards in the air. We saw some balls, and he said, I'm down to about 45 and 50 now.
He's looking for about 35 here. And he hangs it up high, and Sidner makes the fair catch at the 11. The Jets will start there, trailing 10-0. And that's what the Jets have done on offense today. Translation, they've done zip.
They've had better days. Looking at the numbers, they've definitely had better days. But the only pass that they've thrown really upfield has been a nice toss to Mitchell. But other than that, they've had some throws out in the flat that have just been stopped for losses.
Second down, 11. I called it a gain on first down. It was, in fact, a loss of 1. Esiason looks over the middle, free ball, almost picked off by Dishman, and Dishman's hurt again. Wayne Krebet, the intended receiver, and Pro Bowl alternate cornerback Chris Dishman limps toward the sideline to be replaced by number 22 Tomer Barnes.
Well, Corbett was being covered by a linebacker, which normally would be a very good matchup. You can see Corbett moving across there, but Eddie Robinson, number 50, dropping back late into the zone to make a play just as the ball was coming to Corbett. You see there, Robinson with a nice play, and again, Chris Dishman, we saw him earlier in the game getting up slowly from a play where he'd make a tackle out in the flats, and looks like he's nursing a tender ankle.
So it's third down and 11. Esiason gets away from the first man, releases all the way downfield and just over the outstretched hands of number 89 Charles Wilson. Odie Harris, number 27, was there on the coverage.
And Rich Kotite told us, he said, you know, people told me that Boomer Esiason's arm was gone. He goes, Boomer Esiason could throw the ball through this wall right now. And look at this throw here. You know, he's not set up. His feet aren't set. He's kind of moving on the run, and he makes a nice long throw. In fact, just a little bit too far.
Wilson's had a disappointing year at wide receiver, but he had Harris beaten on that play, and Boomer just overthrew him a little bit. Now Hansen has to punt from inside his end zone. El Gray waits at midfield. Low kick. Gray's going to get a chance. He allows it to bounce. Gets past the first man. Second man brings him down. Short return, but the Oilers again have excellent field position after Chaz Cascadden, number 53, the tackling sensation of Jet special teams, made that here. NBC Tonight, Mad About You, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, followed by Hope and Glory. That's all after Lost Civilizations.
You see Buffalo up 13-3, and Buffalo getting a chance to clinch their division. Thomas on a 2-yard TD run. Now the question on this last play, Mel Gray has signaled for a fair catch, but once the ball bounced, he was able to advance it.
McNair against the Jets blitz, releases the screen to Thomas. They've got some room. Thomas looking to cut back to the middle of the field, probably gave up a few yards as he tried for that. But it's a first down, and number 21, Victor Green, finally makes the stop for the Jets after the 15-yard gain. Good block out in front by Brad Hopkins.
Well, that's the play they had tried in the last series, trying to get the screen pass going. They had to call it off when they had everybody covered. This time, Thomas wide open with room to run, and Brad Hopkins was the guy. Not only was he lead blocking, but also ended up being the guy that Rodney Thomas ran into.
Yep.
Pretty much blocking everybody.
But it's first down from the 36-yard line as McNair continues to have a relatively unruffled day in his first start at quarterback against the blitz here. He gets man coverage on Haywood Jeffries and releases long downfield. Otis Smith Number 45 was again the man on the island for the Jets.
Well, the Jets again sliding guys to the outside. You can see him coming off of both corners, trying to get the blitz. Hoppins getting out nice to make a pick, and Rodney Thomas on the other side to pick up, but forcing the Oilers into a max protect situation where they have to keep everybody in and try and stop the blitz from hurting them.
Well, you certainly can't say so far that McNair freezes up against the blitz.
No, not at all. He may not have audible to some calls that might have been better for him, but he definitely showing poise.
And he certainly releases the football quickly, maybe in a couple of instances too quickly, but he can smooth that out over time. Derek Russell, the intended receiver there. Good hit by Victor Green to knock the ball loose. Third down for the Oilers.
And the way that the Jets are coming, these are the plays you got to call. The quick three-step drops, release the ball quickly, and good rush up front by the Jets.
Jets are getting close to McNair, but not able to get jersey against his jersey as he's able to release the football again.
Well, he's doing everything he can to keep them from getting pressure. He's doing the little short rollouts to ruin their pass rush lanes. He's getting the three-step drop and releasing the ball quickly. All these things keep the defenders off of the quarterback.
Houston 1 of 5 on third downs. Make it 1 of 6. No flags fly. Sanders, the intended receiver. Otis Smith on the coverage. Gary Jones, number 25, is the Jet who was involved in that collision, and it's Sanders who stays down on the field.
Well, Otis Smith was making the coverage, but watch Gary Jones coming up just to kind of make sure that the play didn't advance anywhere. First of all, Jones stayed down for a moment or two, but it seemed like everybody involved in the collision definitely was not feeling so hot afterwards.
Yeah, it's Sanders who's still down on the field, and you can see why as Jones got the hit directly on his midsection. So Del Greco has come on for an apparent attempted field goal, but the trainers continue to work on rookie receiving star Chris Sanders.
The xiphoid process, which is the cartilage area just under the sternum.
So you think he got hit in his xiphoid process?
No, actually, I think he got hit in the solar plexus that time.
Oh, no. I'm confused again.
The xiphoid would have been a little higher, Jim.
Is the solar plexus near the xiphoid process?
They're adjacent.
They're adjacent to each other.
Yes.
All right, well, whichever.
Anatomy 101.
One thing we know for sure, it hurt.
Yeah.
Sanders took a long time to get up.
Yeah, I think he might have just got the wind knocked out of him because he took a pretty good shot right in the abdomen.
Del Greco's got a 49-yarder already today. Now let's see if he can add a 53 to the 49. You see that it's within his range. Career long 54. And it's a fake and a quick kick off of the field goal formation. And Del Greco, who's a nifty little athlete with a heck of a golf game, didn't hit the punt quite far enough to make the unusual strategy pay off.
I should have stayed off the driving range and spent a little more time on working on the punt. But you can
I don't want to say shanked it, but it definitely went too far to the right.
Well, you know, he's trying to place it. He's just trying to like get that little pooch kick into the corner, and it just came off the side of his foot just more than he had anticipated.
Not bad. He got it out of bounds at the 21. And Al says, well, all right, maybe next time.
You love a guy who can laugh at himself.
Great guy, player rep, one of the 3 or 4 best golfers in the National Football League, and an excellent kicker for 12 years. Most of them here in Houston. On first down for Esiason and the Jets. Krebet stretches and almost makes the catch, but now remains catchless. As it's ruled incomplete, it'll be second down 10. We get word from the Miami-Buffalo game that Dan Marino has been hurt, and we'll be looking for an update in just a moment.
A nice little route just to the outside, not real sharp, but he lays it out there. As it gets in his hands, he doesn't have total control by the time the ball hits the ground, so they call it incomplete.
Krebet came in with 57 catches, tied with Joey Galloway for the lead among rookie receivers, and he himself doesn't seem to be paying a lot of attention to that, but Boomer Esiason is, and very much wants for Krebet to end the season with more catches than Galloway, but none in the first half so far. Blitz for Houston on second down 10. Throw is complete underneath to Johnny Mitchell, and Mitchell's wrestled down after a gain of about 3 or 4. Joe Bowden and Gary Walker saying, well, it might be our last game in Houston, but while we're here, we're going to hit.
Now they're dropping all these passes off short, and but they're just not getting any yardage. He's dropping them back to the line of scrimmage. It looks like it's a little 10-yard pass, but Boomer's dropping so far back, he's just throwing it back to the line of scrimmage. blitz picked up pretty well, but the inside guy's adding some pressure on Boomer Esiason.
Well, the Jets on completed passes average only 9.9 yards per catch, lowest in the AFC. And Boomer told us yesterday he's had to ask the receivers to shorten the routes a lot because of the absence of protection. On third down, no protection again.
Good rush. Good rush up front.
Walker,
Gary Walker, number 96, made a nice move on the line of scrimmage, falls down and pretty much just crawls the rest of the way after Boomer Esiason, but then he's hit from the backside by Michael Barrows.
Walker and Barrow with a big... 2 minutes to go before halftime in the Astrodome. An impotent day on offense for Boomer Esiason and the Jets. Boomer with number 3 quarterback Eric Wilhelm on the sideline. Brian Hansen, after the third down sack of Esiason, stands at his 2-yard line. Hansen's going to wind up with a chance at double figures in punts again today if the Jet offense can't get going. Here's a bad one. This will give the Oilers spectacular field position inside 2 minutes remaining to go in the half. They'll be starting at the Jet 41-yard line. Coming up at halftime, we'll send you to our New York studio. Greg Gumbel, Joe Gibbs, and Joe Montana will get you caught up on all the scores and highlights from the 16th week of the NFL season. And we'll have a live report from Bob Golick's hometown of Cleveland, where the Browns are playing their final home game. That's coming up at halftime. Also, we'll get you word immediately at halftime on the status of Dan Marino as the Dolphins and the Bills play that significant game in the AFC East. The Bills hoping to nail down another division championship, and the Dolphins clinging to their dwindling playoff hopes, dwindling particularly if they lose today.
And we see Chris Sanders back in the game. Report was he just had the wind knocked out of him on the play and the big hit.
So the Oilers have their full complement of receivers as they go 3 wide on first down from the 41. McNair operating against the Jet blitz, throws it just a little bit too high for Derek Russell. Otis Smith was there again on the coverage, and the Oilers just won't leave Otis Smith alone.
I don't think they're picking on him, but Derek Russell turned into that little zone in front of Smith and looked like he pretty much didn't expect the ball to be thrown to him. Then when McNair popped the ball to him, he had to react pretty quickly. The ball wasn't that badly thrown. I don't think Derek Russell was really keyed on making the catch.
No slap at Chris Chandler, who's been the starting QB through the bulk of the season, but the Oiler players make no secret of their excitement about playing with McNair. They want to see what this kid can do. On second down 10, the kid goes deep. And Sanders is again being manhandled, and this time number 43, Vance Joseph, will draw the flag, and Joseph never looked around for the ball.
Wait, you know who's making these, who's causing this to happen? Steve McNair is causing these penalties. He's underthrowing Chris Sanders. Chris Sanders is turning to go up and make the play, and because of Sanders' speed, the defenders are all chasing, not
Pass
watching.
interference on the defense, number 43. Spot foul and automatic. First down.
So the defenders aren't really watching the ball. They're trying to catch up with Chris Sanders. And watch, you're going to see as Sanders breaks to make a play back for the ball, he's got to, right there, he's got to come up and make a play in his face. So it's almost McNair who is the one that is causing these penalties to happen.
That one a clearer interference call than the first long interference call, which went against Otis Smith when he was working against Sanders. This time, Joseph definitely put his hands on the receiver before he turned around to look for the football. So it's first and goal now from the 6-yard line. Give us to Thomas. Thomas with a big hole. Gets it down to about the 2. Jets are pretty tough with the run defense, particularly with Marvin Jones clogging the middle from middle linebacker. That time it was Ron Carpenter who made the tackle. As you look at Jeff Fisher looking for his second consecutive win over the Jets.
You know, the Jets have a nice defensive front. The guys up front, they're not oversized. You know, you're seeing a lot of 300, 320, 330-pound defensive linemen now. The Jets, most of their guys are about 285, 290. But, you know, Matt Brock, Mark Spindler are playing very well. And you have Eric Howard, who they brought over from the Giants, a very good season veteran as a lineman.
6 seconds on the play clock as McNair calls. Gives to Thomas. Kind of an iffy handoff as Thomas had to stop to take the football, and that gave Marvin Jones the chance to react up and stop Rodney for no gain.
Yeah, it was kind of a lag draw over to the left side of the offense as he goes up there to meet Thomas. And I think Thomas, just as soon as he got the ball, he saw 54 Marvin Jones sitting there waiting for him. He had to make an immediate kind of grab crawl to the right, trying to avoid that what would have been a loss.
30 seconds left before halftime clock running. 3rd down and goal coming up. Jets looking for a goal line stand and whatever lift that might provide. Both teams with 3 timeouts remaining, and finally the Oilers elect to use one.
Timeout Houston. That's their first charge timeout. A 40-second timeout.
Well, I mean, it's 3rd down. They're going to have one more play. They want to make sure they have time for the one play and then also be able to stop it. If they don't make it, get the field goal. But Steve McNair's been making some pretty good decisions during the course of this game today.
Jerry Rome on the sideline working with McNair. At the beginning of the season, it was clear that Rome didn't want McNair to be risked in tough situations this year. He was as adamant as anyone about keeping the kid on the bench while Chandler and backup Will Furrier handled the quarterback responsibilities. But this week, Rome says, yeah, he's ready.
Well, I mean, face it, McNair didn't come out of a pro-style college at Alcorn State. So in order to adjust to this type of offense, he needed a lot of time at learning, just doing the book work. And secondly, like I said before, do you want to risk breaking the psyche of a young quarterback like we're seeing might be happening with a Rick Meyer in Seattle or a Drew Bledsoe in New England?
Both Meyer and Bledsoe, at least in terms of the impression they created, much more successful as rookies than they have been in their 3rd years in the league. Of course, Bledsoe had the spectacular 2nd year, and the Oilers failed to get a playoff before the play clock expires.
Delay. Offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Hey, Jim, do you think that's what Jerry Rome told him to do?
I think he lost track of the play clock.
Yeah, Jeff Fisher, I don't know. I don't think Jeff Fisher can understand how you can come to the sidelines during a timeout, get a new play, and not be able to get it off on time.
Just lost track of the clock. He didn't make those kinds of mistakes last week in his first tour of duty against the Lions, and his coaches were impressed by that. That kind of thing is predictable for a rookie quarterback in this situation. So now on 3rd and goal from back at the 9, he gets blasted. Jeffries tries to pick the ball out of the air. Now Wycheck has it, and suddenly what was a chip shot field goal attempt for Al Del Greco will take place from a much farther distance. As Bobby Houston, number 55, was the man who belted McNair from behind and got the football out of there, and McNair limps.
Well, as they've done all along, they're trying to do a little bit of that little short, kind of a short sprint out. You're going to see McNair as he drops back from the ball. He's going to kind of do that short little sprint over to the right just to get out of the pocket. But the backside, you've got Haywood Jeffries trying to block up against Bobby Houston. Jeffries just isn't the guy who's going to block him, and Houston just came flat out and just stoned McNair in the back.
And you see that McNair limped away as he heads to the back bench. There's Chris Chandler battling mononucleosis.
There was a fumble out of play. The ball went out of bounds behind the spot of the fumble. It'll be brought back to the out of bounds spot. 4th down.
So what was 3rd and goal from inside the 10 now becomes 4th and goal with the football all the way back at the 33-yard line. It was a 24-yard loss. And this will make a Del Greco field goal attempt about a 50-yarder.
Well, this is definitely not what the game plan was, but you got to give the Jets a lot of credit. They've been coming at McNair, blitzing on I'd say about 75% of the defensive plays, bringing somebody in on him. And you had to figure that eventually something was going to break down, and they're going to make it work.
It would become a huge play if the game gets close in the second half. What would have been, on an incompletion, a 26-yard field goal attempt for Al Del Greco becomes a 50-yard attempt. And trainers will have all of halftime to determine whether McNair should play in the second half. He appears to be walking on a tender knee at that spot, Bob.
I think the referees at this point trying to figure out where they're going to spot it.
Mike Carey's crew. And we remind you, coming up, the Domino's halftime NFL on NBC halftime report. Greg Gumbel, Joe Gibbs, Joe Montana, Costas and Ditka in Cleveland for the historic occasion there. Scores and highlights of all the games ongoing, including the AFC East battle between the Dolphins and the Bills.
On the play, the ball was picked up by another person on the offensive team other than the fumbler. So the ball will be put back to the spot of the fumble. Timeout, Houston.
So was it Haywood Jeffries that recovered the fumble after he let Bobby Houston through?
Actually, it was Wycheck who wound up with the football, and I guess they're going to say that the ball will be moved to the point at which Wycheck picked it up.
There you see Jeffries trying to block Houston, and Houston just having a straight shot at the back of McNair's jersey, and Frank Wycheck getting a good awareness of picking up the ball.
Haywood never really had possession of the football, so Wycheck is the player in question, and he made no forward progress after getting it at the 31, and they'll mark it at about the 32, so, well, actually they're going to put it right on the 31. Giving a little bit of the benefit of the doubt to the Oilers and shortening Del Greco's field goal try to 48 yards. Check it, now it's 53. The football's at the 36. I said the 31, make it the 36. It's a 53-yard field goal try. He missed one from this distance earlier, and he makes this one. So it all comes out in the wash for the Oilers, as despite the 27-yard loss on the fumble by McNair, Del Greco nails the field goal anyway.
Well, it looks better in his stats too. So I'm sure as long as he made that,
happy.
As long as he made that 53-yarder, you know, he has no problem. It looked like it was almost nicked at the line of scrimmage because the ball had a fairly low trajectory coming out of the hole.
Make Del Greco 2 of 2 on the day. I was incorrect in saying he had missed one earlier from this distance. From this distance before, he tried the quick kick. This time they go with the field goal and he runs it through.
No, good job by Al Del Greco. Jeff Fisher obviously very excited, getting a little bit more points before going into halftime.
Hey, the Oilers aren't going anywhere, but they've made clear they'll play hard for Jeff Fisher even in a no-win situation.
Jeff Fisher has had to deal with the whole, which I think may have kind of brought this team together, but since the preseason he's had to deal with the rumors of the move to Nashville, and that kind of hung over their heads for a long time. He has just been very honest with this team right from the beginning, and really has been so impressed with the attitude of the players. He said that at practice, he goes, these guys play hard, they practice hard, they study hard. Everything about them has been professional. Nobody has just given up on this season.
In 1991, when Buddy Ryan was blown out in Philadelphia, Fisher and Rich Kotite, both members of the staff, were the two men seen as likely successors, and both were interviewed for the job. Philadelphia management gave the gig to Kotite, and Fisher came here with Buddy Ryan. Squib kickoff taken by Otis Smith, and he runs it out at the 45, and the clock expires. So it's halftime in Houston, with the Oilers now holding a 13-0 lead over the Jets. We'll be sending you New York and the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC halftime report right after these messages. Yards for New York, and they had a total of 2 first downs, both of them in one drive.
But like I said, Jim, it seems like one series they tried to run the ball. It didn't work. The next series they tried to throw the ball. It didn't work. There's no flow to the offense, the way the offense is coming out and being presented.
Oilers started the game with the football, so to begin the second half, Del Greco kicks it off. And Ron Carpenter takes it for the Jets. Gets across the 20 and across the 30 to the 33. Second effective kickoff return of the game for Carpenter. Lemansky Hall, number 51, making the stop downfield for the Oilers. And there are the numbers on Boomer in the first half.
And the one big throw was to Mitchell for about a 10 or 12-yard gain. But other than that, it's just been a couple of nitpick throws right and left of him. And there you see what I talked about before, Jim. Look at that. Every single possession has been a punt. Only one drive has gone more than 3 plays. All the rest of them, 3 plays and out.
So they got both of their first downs on that third possession and no first downs on any other possession. See what they've figured out at halftime. Well, point 1, they figured how to get the ball into the hands of Corbett. First catch of the day for the rookie, who came in with 57 grabs. And Tomur Barnes was the man who finally wrestled Corbett out of bounds.
And Tomur Barnes would have made a nice tackle had he concentrated on tackling, but instead he's trying to rip the ball out of Wayne Corbett's hands. You can see him trying to pull the ball loose, and actually did there for a moment, but a great connection between Boomer and Wayne Corbett.
We've just been told that the Jets have lost free safety Gary Jones, so when the Jets are playing defense, you might expect to see Carpenter in the game replacing him. On second down short yardage here, Esiason gives to Ronald Moore, and the former 1,000-yard rusher for the Arizona Cardinals back in his rookie year of '93 goes for a couple here and gets the first down before Gary Walker makes the stop for Houston.
Well, that's what Rich Kotite likes about Moore. You know, obviously they would like to have Adrian Morrell in there. He was the guy that was really starting to get the run game flowing. But Moore has proven that he can be a 1,000-yard guy. He's big, he's tough. You know, he's a guy that's really he'll be a workhorse for you.
We're getting some unexpected duty today after Morrell was forced to dress in street clothes with a shoulder stinger that he picked up last week. First down 10 for the Jets as they get the third first down of the game. Esiason looking deep, trying to get it to Kravets, up for grabs and batted away. Torrey Hunter, rookie defensive back out of Washington State, making the play downfield for the Oilers.
And a good rush on Boomer Esiason. You see these guys working number 90, Kenny Davidson, getting up in his face, trying to, and actually getting a hit on him as he makes the throw. But he was the guy that really disrupted that play, forced Boomer Esiason to throw the ball very high, and it would shorten his trajectory.
Second and 10.
Kravets at 5'10", trying to out-jump Hunter at 5'9". Not exactly the prototype alley-oop. Second down 10.
A couple of field mice.
Over the middle to Ryan Yarborough. And Yarborough, who had no catches in the first half, gets one here. Michael Barrow on the stop, along with Chuck Cecil, gain of about 9.
Well, Yarborough has been coming on a little bit. You know, they're getting some production out of him. You see a nice throw, good pick, a good spot to pick the throw to by Boomer, right there between 3 defenders. But Yarborough, one of the other receivers, they really are having a problem with their wide receivers. As we said earlier, when Rich Kotite came in, he had the wide receivers, but as training camp and preseason went on, there was more drop passes, more bad routes. He said, I'm just clearing the deck. He cleared it all out, and this is what they ended up with.
They made it a gain of 8, call it 3rd and 2. Full blitz for the Oilers. Esiason releases over the middle. It's almost picked off. Moody Harris had a shot at it. Torrey Hunter was there as well. And there's news from Orchard Park. Bills and Dolphins. Let's go to Greg in New York.
All right, Jim, 2 Buffalo turnovers in the second half have led to 2 scores. Dan Marino, 25 yards to Eric Green down the middle after an interception of a Jim Kelly pass. And the Dolphins have pulled even with the Bills at 13. Jim?
All right, Greg, and finally the Dolphins get a big play out of the Marino to Green connection. They've been looking for it since preseason.
And Green really hasn't been as productive as they had hoped for most of the season anyway.
Here's Brian Hansen's 7th punt of the game. Fair caught by Mel Gray, and the Oilers will have the football for their first possession of the 3rd quarter when we come back.
Dean Witter. There are many ways to measure success. Dean Witter measures success one investor at a time.
Counted about 7 winks over those billboards, Bob. How many?
Those pom-poms get in your eyes, and it's just going to be so distracting.
Start blinking right and left, huh? There are the numbers on McNair, 85 yards passing, but his passes also prompted 2 pass interference penalties against the Jets that added another 77 yards.
Right.
So the passing game actually advanced the ball 162 yards in the first half. Oilers with McNair leading 13-0 over the Jets as they begin their first possession of the second half. Ball at the 14-yard line. Straight drop back. And McNair throws in and out of the hands of Wycheck, the tight end. Marvin Jones was there on the coverage, and you can see that the Oilers fared slightly better with their first half possessions than did the Jets.
Right, and the one thing you see is that the Oilers, although nothing spectacular, on the drives that they started in Jets territory were the drives that they were able to score points.
And the 2 penalties were also instrumental in helping them to maintain the field position advantage throughout the first half. So you look at Jerry Rome, hired mentor to Steve McNair, watching his prize pupil as McNair throws another incompletion intended for Derek Russell with Otis Smith there on the coverage. And I think they locate Smith before they start these pass plays to the wide receivers, Bob.
Well, it was Smith, and it was also Ron Carpenter. I think Carpenter actually was the one who got his hand on the ball and swatted it away. But you're right, it really seems like they've decided to kind of pick on Otis Smith. That's why you're seeing guys like Victor Green and Ron Carpenter show up around Smith so much. Figure give him a little bit of help.
The other Jet corner, former high draft choice Aaron Glenn, played at nearby Texas A&M, has a lot of family and friends in the stands. Well, some family and friends in the stands, but we've only called his name once as the Oilers are staying away from his side. McNair on third down throws a perfect strike to Todd McNair, and Todd McNair can't hold on as Mo Lewis was there, but Todd McNair had position and should have been able to make that catch.
Right, he should have had that. It was a great throw and a great catch. You can see out on the left side of your screen, he comes out of the backfield, breaks it along the sidelines. He's going to come underneath. Nice catch, but it just off his stomach. I'm telling you what, you're seeing more and more with receivers and backs who are supposed to be receivers. A lot of times they're not just using their hands, they're using their body to kind of trap the ball. You get away from just using your hands, you're going to have more balls ricochet off your pads.
So Lewis gets away with that coverage. Flag goes down as the ball is snapped to Houston punter Rich Camarillo, and now Mike Carey's crew will straighten this one out.
Before the snap, false start on the offense, number 83. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Malcolm Seabrun drawing the penalty there.
And you can get a little bit of jumpy back there, especially when you got a defense, a return team lined up against you that looks like they may start coming after the ball. They start twitching a little bit and acting like they're going to come. It's very difficult to keep focus on seeing them and also seeing when the ball is snapped.
Then we hear false start on number 84. What was that all about? So from deeper in his end zone, Camarillo. Sidner at the 43 gets past the first man and is brought down at about the 48 or 49-yard line. Malcolm Seabrun, number 83, was the first man to hit him downfield. The first professional sports franchise ever was the Oilers of the American Football League. They won the championship, the AFL, in the inaugural season 1960 and again in 1961. Today, they play in all probability their last football game in Houston. They lead the Jets 13-0. Ronald Moore takes the pitch from Esiason. Oilers are ready for the Jets running game, and it'll be 2nd down, long yardage for Esiason and company after Kenny Davidson and Blaine Bishop made the tackle.
Let's take a look at looking for next year for the New York Jets. We got a couple of guys that are up for free agents. First and foremost, Boomer Esiason, who was a little bit slighted when Glenn Foley was brought in after Boomer came back from concussion. They'll have to work out that deal with him. Johnny Mitchell, Marvin Washington, all guys that are key players for them, especially right now. Johnny Mitchell really fitting in because Kyle Brady being out of the game.
There's Adrian Morrell, who leads the Jets in rushing and receiving, 6th in the AFC in total yardage coming in. And he is not dressed today because of a shoulder stinger. On 2nd down, Esiason looks and throws in and out of the hands of number 22, Tomu Barnes. He was trying to get it to Wayne Corbett. Barnes almost had the pick.
Right, so they're gonna really, first and foremost, I think they're gonna have to work on Boomer. I think Boomer's a guy that until a guy like you can prove that a guy like Foley is going to develop, you got to work on keeping Boomer Esiason in the fold with the Jets. Secondly, the one thing that, and we mentioned this before, that Richie Kotite had told us, they needed some help on the outside at tackles. Both offensive tackles just aren't suited for working up against speed rushers. And the two, having a quarterback, especially an older quarterback, and guys that can't handle speed rushes, is going to get the guy hurt back there.
How about speed fumbles? On 3rd down and 11, Esiason has difficulty handling the snap, and we'll wait to see who has gotten the football. Jet offense continues in its anemic performance today.
I've been in pileups with Boomer like that before.
And you talked about cowboy boots, right?
Yeah. You know, people used to ask us, as you see the fumble here, it just came up. People talk about what happens during a game about talking. Well, when Boomer was in Cincinnati, I was in Cleveland. I hit him at the end of a play as he was throwing the ball. And as we laid on the field, he started telling me about, he said, hey, Bob, I got this buddy in Cleveland. As we watch a little bit of a tussle going on up there.
This is a rugby scrum.
Yeah. He goes, I got this buddy.
Stop it! Everybody out! Get out of here! Now! Out of here! Now! You know that's wrong! Now! Now!
Somebody tell them that they turned their mics on.
Come on, let's go. Clock going. This way. This way. This way. Come on, let's go.
So anyway, I hit Boomer. We're laying there. The pass was completed. and he made this grunting noise. I said, Boomer, you all right? He goes, Bob, he goes, hey, I got this guy in Cleveland who has a boot company. He goes, he wants an autographed picture to put up on the wall there. If you do that, he'll give you a free set of boots. I said, okay, great. So, you know, we're laying at a place going on. We're discussing free boots to a boot company.
This sounds like a television commercial. 4th down, 13 yards to go for the Jets at the 46 after the fumbled snap. Hansen gets it away, flag down, and Mel Gray makes the catch, spins away from the first man, and has a lot of room on the left side if he can get to the outside, and is dragged down from behind. Number 59, Kyle Clifton, reserve linebacker for the Jets, making the long gain saving tackle there. Now we'll see what the flag was for. Offside, Houston.
Testing.
Yes, it works, Mike. So in all probability, the Jets will punt
Offsides
again.
on the defense, number 55. 5-yard penalty, re-kick, 4th down.
So anyway, Jim, so we're talking about this boot deal.
Yes.
And I try and call he gave me the lady's number right there on the field that I was supposed to call. I'm doing phone tag with her back and forth. 4 weeks later, we play them again in Cleveland. About the 3rd play of the game, there's the ball snapped. It drops to the ground. Boomer jumps on it. I jump on him. And everybody jumps on top of us. And I'm trying to pull the ball on. Give me the ball, Boomer. And he looks up from the bottom of this mass of humanity and he goes, hey, Bob, did you get a hold of that guy about those boots? I go, no, I'm playing phone tag. But I talked to his secretary. You know, at that point, all the young guys are going, what the hell are these guys talking about?
This is what scouts mean when they say that Boomer has great awareness on the field.
That's right. But all the veterans are in the pile going, hey, can I get some free boots too?
I'm sure they were. Mel Gray deep again for the Oilers as Hansen once again kicks it away. Gray calls the fair catch this time and makes it at the 12-yard line. So Steve McNair and the Oilers will be deep in their own territory at the 12 as they begin this possession, leading 13-0. Next Saturday, NBC Sports presents more exciting NFL action, starting at the special time of 12 noon Eastern with the NFL on NBC. Then Junior Seau, Stan Humphries and company lead the Chargers, still fighting for a playoff spot, into the Meadowlands to battle Dave Brown, Rodney Hampton, and the Giants. Then following the game, it's a special post-game edition of the NFL on NBC, featuring the selection of the Bob Hope All-America team, featuring Heisman Trophy winner Eddie George of Ohio State. So that's a special Saturday edition of the NFL on NBC starting at 12 noon Eastern, right here on NBC next Saturday.
Bob Hope, All-American. That was a mess. Years ago, we went and did that.
Chargers have a big game in Indianapolis today as they try to keep their playoff hopes alive. Indianapolis in the thick of the fight as well. On 1st down, McNair hands to Rodney Thomas. Mark Spindler makes the stop for the Jets, and the Jets are playing run all the way on these 1st and 10 situations against the Oilers, and player stays down.
It's not like the Oilers are really mixing things up that well. They're
going to come back after a play or so. Meanwhile, he's been replaced in the offensive line by Eric Norgard, who will line up at left guard. Bruce Matthews, who's played every position along the offensive front at some time or another, moves over for the moment to left tackle. Steve McNair working on a streak of 7 consecutive incomplete passes. Here with a passing situation on 2nd and 10. Blitz, release, and 1st down yardage and more for Roderick Lewis, the 2nd-year tight end out of Arizona, before Victor Green runs him out. Quickly, let's check in with Greg Gumbel in New York.
All right, Jim, in Buffalo, the Bills break the tie. Jim Kelly from 11 yards out to Thurman Thomas in the end zone. On 3rd and goal, the Bills convert, and they take the lead over Miami, 20-13 late in the 3rd. Jim.
And how many knives has Thurman Thomas stuck into the heart of Don Shula over the years? Big play after big play against the Dolphins.
Well, the good news for the Dolphins is that the injury to Marino was the ring finger of his non-throwing hand, so he's been able to get back in and at least keep him competitive.
Nair down to 1 on the play clock after having picked up the 1st down with the pass to Lewis. First scramble of the day for the rookie QB, and he's belted hard to the AstroTurf as he gets to the sideline. Bobby Houston, number 55, dragging McNair down from behind.
And, you know, he really has done a good job, and McNair has done a good job of staying in the pocket, because I think that's what a lot of people were worried about, that he was going to be too run-happy. But even Rich Kotite said, you know, I was working with Randall Cunningham. With Randall Cunningham, he goes, he felt he was similar, but Randall almost knew he was going to run coming out of the huddle. You know, he was
as Kotite said, coming out of the locker room.
Yeah. He goes, he was that anxious to run with it. He goes, with McNair, you're seeing a guy who's much more patient and is taking the time to read his progression of receivers before saying, hey, I got to run with this.
$28 million the Oilers have invested in the young man. Here he lets the play clock run down to 0 before getting the playoff. That'll hurt him.
There's been a couple of times now he's gotten awful close.
On the offense, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
And gone past the allotted time, so he's going to have to work on play time management a little bit more.
You see the Oilers with the designation Mojo on their helmets. That's in memorial to honor the recently deceased Mojo Lackey, longtime sideline figure, chief helper, chief of staff of ball boys. McNair under pressure, releases in the flat, looking to try to get it to Todd McNair. Marvin Jones was the man who was in on top of Steve McNair. Didn't give him time to complete the play.
Yeah, watch him. They didn't give away the blitz from the right as pre-snap. He came from his regular linebacker position, and nobody even picked it up. He came wide open, and they make a nice hit on McNair.
The penalty had made it 2nd down 14, so now it will be 3rd and 14 with the football at the 24, and Jones goes to the sideline as the Jets bring on an extra defensive back.
But they're mixing up a little bit more defensively. They're not showing blitz all the time. Sometimes they're blitzing from a normal base look.
Otis Smith locked on to Sebron. McNair looks to the other side of the field and tries to get it to Sanders, but number 43 Vance Joseph with good coverage on the play.
Hey, that was all Vance. Vance Joseph was all over Sanders on that one. You're going to watch him. He takes away the outside finger. He's got some help on the inside, but watch him with the cut. Stays right with Sanders and makes a nice play, hand on the ball, just as it comes into Sanders' chest.
Tremendous play for a guy who was a backup quarterback behind Cordell Stewart through most of his career at Colorado. Is learning to play defensive back this year. Has been toasted on a few occasions, but is showing some instinct for the position.
Hey, you learn through adversity sometimes.
Jeff Sidner deep to receive the punt as Rich Camarillo kicks it away for Houston. Long, low kick. Plenty of time for Sidner to do something with it. Gets it at the 20 and is dragged down at the 30 on an excellent tackle. Numbers 51 and 52 for the Oilers. Lemansky, Hall, and Baron Wortham down there. Wortham says, I'm a demigod. I'm really something cosmically new because I made that tackle.
Well, you know, he likes it. He's had an opportunity because of injuries to Michael Barrow during the course of the year to step in as a starter at middle linebacker, but still very good on special teams.
Personal foul against the Jets.
During the return, there was holding on the return, team number 32. 10-yard penalty, first down.
They get holding, not a personal foul, and so the Jets will begin with the football back near their 20-yard line, trailing 13-zip. 8th wonder of the world when they first built it a few decades ago. Today it is about to become a lame duck National Football League stadium. The Oilers are playing under court order here and are supposed to play here under court order for the next 2 years. But the facts of life are as follows. If the Oilers play here for 2 more years with the expected low attendance, the county and the Astrodome will lose money, but Adams won't. So in all probability, they'll be gone to Tennessee after this year. On first down for the Jets, Esiason releases sidearm to Wayne Krebet. Krebet makes a spectacular acrobatic catch for a gain of about 3.
A great job by Krebet. Watch him. He's going to work his way coming from motion. He's just going to drag it back across the middle, hoping to find some room over the middle, and a nice job of picking it up. But once again, the throw is just very short, not picking up much yardage. And I don't know if that little amount of yardage was worth the pounding that Boomer Esiason took on that play.
From big Anthony Cook, number 78, who belted Esiason down to the artificial turf after the release. 3-yard gain on the completion to Krebet. 2nd down 7. Blitz. And the ball was batted into the air by number 58, Joe Bowden. Having a pretty good game today from his outside linebacker position.
You're going to see Joe Bowden right in front of you in the bottom of your screen. He's going to come unmolested. The tight end right there just totally ignores him, and Bowden comes and makes a play. And, you know, Bowden's the guy that, along with Eddie Robinson on the other side, number 50, who the Oilers, we talk about free agents, these are guys that they're going to have to try and lock up because they've really started to develop as a linebacker unit. both Bowden and Eddie Robinson are guys that they could potentially lose.
And it's rookie defensive tackle Gary Walker, number 5 pick in the draft, who has come up big for the Oilers, replacing Ray Childress this year. He's the man who's down on the artificial turf. When they move to Tennessee next year, they'll be playing in all probability in the Liberty Bowl, which is in Memphis, not Nashville. Go figure. But if my memory serves me correctly, the Liberty Bowl is natural grass, and I think you'll see less of this.
I certainly hope so. You know, they have the ability to do so many things. You think they could find a way to get rid of this AstroTurf, and why the union doesn't fight stronger to get rid of a lot of the AstroTurf, especially in outside stadiums, I have no idea.
Did you see the lady in front of Bud Adams who noticed her face on the monitor and decided to stand up to give us all a better look? She obscured the owner of the Oilers, playing the courts ruled that he would play in the new league, the AFL, instead of in the old league, the NFL. That was the first of many huge steps toward the AFL-NFL merger. The Oilers won that first championship in 1960. They won again in 1961. All that glory and tradition coming to a close today. Esiason throws over the middle of Mitchell. Mitchell fighting toward the stick to try to get the Jets a rare first down. Blaine Bishop with the tackle. And they're right at about the measurement point. You see Fisher over on the sideline supervising the spot of the ball.
Well, he's doing everything he can to help his offense at this point, and they give him the first down. Mitchell fighting hard to get that first down.
Fisher, a fiery guy, played defensive back at USC with Ronnie Lott, Dennis Smith, Joey Browner. Bruce Matthews was a member of the team, and now Fisher coaches Bruce Matthews.
Boy, I tell you what a group of defensive backs that was.
Were they good?
Oh.
1st and 10 as they give Mitchell credit for the first down. I think that's the Jets' 4th first down of the game. The give here is to Brad Baxter, and Baxter has a couple before Michael Barrow makes the stop. Check with my statistician here. How many Jets first downs? Is that 4? I'm correct. They've had 4, Bob.
Well, they seem, you know, in the run game, they just seem a little tentative getting to the line of scrimmage. They're not slashing. They're not really pounding it away at the line of scrimmage. They're kind of coming up. They're looking for holes. They're being a little tentative in the way they slash at the holes. And, you know, if they're going to get something going on the ground, they're just going to have to be more aggressive up front.
They should have practiced with earplugs in to get ready for the quiet. On 2nd and 8, Esiason's throw is incomplete. Torrey Hunter, number 25, making the play against intended receiver Ryan Yarborough, number 87 of the Jets.
Yeah, Yarborough been a nice route, but I'll tell you what, Torrey Hunter, beautiful coverage you're going to see over on the right side of your screen as they come in. He just closes Hunter just right on top of him. Makes a beautiful play both on the ball and also on the receiver. It's nice when you see you can get his hand in there and make a play on the ball and not have that backside hand getting into an interference situation by grabbing on or pushing him.
Hunter, one of a number of rookies making contributions for the Oilers. This has been a lengthy 3rd quarter. Can you believe we still have 5:45 to go in the 3rd? Esiason throws to Corbett, and Corbett has another Jet first down. Number 27, Odie Harris, was there to make the tackle. It was Tomur Barnes, number 22, who was covering Corbett. And Corbett with a good catch and run.
He comes in motion. He's just going to make a nice little angle across the middle, just a possession down type of pass. And you know, Corbett told us, he goes, you know, I'm not a real big guy. He goes, so sometimes it might be hard for Boomer to find me because you know what? Because it's also sometimes it's kind of hard for the defensive guys to find me too.
I think I'll credit Barnes with the tackle instead. Harris was there just a half-second late. First down 10, second first down of the drive for the Jets, 5th of the game. Full blitz against Esiason. He releases into the flat and can't get it to Johnny Mitchell.
Boy, and he almost took a shot. Or Boomer actually did take a shot. You're going to see a blitz coming right up the middle. Then he gets hit late as he's throwing the ball. Number 56, Michael Barrow, right on the knee.
And quarterbacks hate it when you come at them low down there because they're looking upfield, they don't see you, and often that's how you get a knee or an ankle with that low hit.
Right. Well, you know, the problem is that you're not allowed to hit them high anymore. So, you know, these guys, they don't like to get hit low. You don't want to hurt the guy's knee, but a lot of times it's just those little crawling type of approaches to the quarterback that can cause the most damage to the knees.
Blitz again. The Again, Esiason releases over the middle, and again, Mitchell fights toward the first down. He's going to be a few yards short on the strong tackle by Chuck Cecil and Blaine Bishop.
Well, I mean, they found something that's worked to get him some yardage. You can see Mitchell just sitting down right in the middle zone, short underneath there. But you're right, good hits. Chuck Cecil coming up, you know, and you see Chuck Cecil, he just doesn't look like that big a guy. In fact, Chris Dishman told me, he goes, first time I saw Chuck Cecil, he goes, this is the big hitter.
This is the guy.
This is the guy.
This is Mr. Apocalypse of defensive secondaries in the NFL. Yeah, but it isn't the size of the dog in the fight with Cecil. It's the size of the fight in the dog. Third down 3, flat pass to number 33, Ronald Moore. Moore breaks a tackle and gets enough for the first down before Joe Bowden knocked him out of bounds.
Now, it looks like it was number 56, Michael Barrow. Oh, excuse me, no, it was Bowden that was the first one that came up and made the hit, but a little upset with himself that he didn't knock him down, and he was able to keep going and pick up the first down.
So Barnes actually gets credit for knocking him out of bounds. Another tackle for Barnes and an unrequited hit there for Barrow.
But one of the problems you're seeing with tacklers is they're trying to make those big hits. They're not wrapping the arms like they used to.
First and 10 for the Jets, their best drive of the game. Complete to Yarborough here, gain of 8. It'll be second down 2. Torrey Hunter on the coverage. Jets have made 3 consecutive first downs.
Right, and you're starting to see some sort of rhythm to the offense. Nothing is really fit together. It's each individual series. It's almost been like, you know what? Hey, you know, we'll run on this one. Okay, we'll throw in the flat on this series. Now they're mixing it up. They're going side to side. They're starting to get a little bit of a rhythm to their offense.
Zeke Bratkowski, offensive coordinator. They played a game against the Seahawks a few weeks ago, and it was Zeke Bratkowski, offensive coordinator of the Jets, against his son, Bob Bratkowski, offensive coordinator of the Seahawks. Here, the give is to Brad Baxter, and the terrific tackle on the corner by Blaine Bishop. That's why he's going to the Pro Bowl.
Oh, he's a big hitter. He loves coming up and taking the shots at these guys. Watch him. You're going to see that they're going to try and do a little bit of run, just off tackle. And Blaine Bishop's just going to come up out of his safety position just to make the nice low tackle. Beautiful shot by Blaine Bishop.
Leads the Oilers in tackles this year, as does the strong safety for the Jets, Victor Green. Strong safety becoming more and more of a focal point of NFL defenses against the running game.
Well, with the attack defense that most of these teams are starting to employ a little bit more, it requires that the safeties come up and make more plays in the running game.
Third down 2, and the Oilers respond. Barnes and Bowden shutting off the corner over there, and the Jets will be short of the first down and have a fourth down decision to make, trailing 13-0 in the ball game with the clock running and 2:24 to go in the third quarter.
Well, you need short yardage. You don't hand off the ball. You watch Moore when he was running. He had his shoulders turned towards the sideline. You're not going to pick up the 2 yards that you need if your shoulders are turned towards the sideline. You got to get the guy. You got to give him the ball, and you got to get him turned towards the line of scrimmage and let him hit the line.
Number 67 reported as ineligible.
Eligible receiver now is number 67, Everett McIver, in the game. A third offensive tackle on the field as the Jets try to get the first down on the ground and can't do it. Eddie Robinson, number 50. Baron Wortham, number 52. 23, Blaine Bishop. And a host of blue jerseys as the Oilers rise up for their few remaining fans in the Astrodome.
Man, they just came up, and this is what Jeff Fisher told us they love to play. Look at the way the penetration. Craig Vesey, the first one to get the penetration, stopped Moore's feet, and everybody else taking a shot at the back.
Jeff Fisher, his trademark is defense. That's a big moment from on his way out. Is Gary Walker, number 5 draft choice, rookie defensive tackle for the Oilers, who's become a starter in the last 7 weeks with Ray Childress sidelines. And so the Oilers will have to go the rest of the way without him. On first down, Steve McNair gives to Gary Brown, and Brown rolls forward for a gain of about 3. And another look at the fourth down stoppage by the Oilers.
And right there, Vesey, 71's the first one to break through, drove his man back about 2 yards in the backfield. He stopped the forward momentum. Then Bishop and Barrow and all the rest of the guys came in and just all took turns hitting Moore.
And Jeff Fisher celebrated on the sidelines.
Nothing like a good defensive
Jet drive was 13 plays, 44 yards. They got 3 first downs. It was their best drive of the day, and they wind up with, as we say, bupkis from it. Good play fake by McNair. Wide open receiver is Wycheck. Excellent throw. Another first down for the Oilers near midfield and into Jets territory. Let's go to New York.
All right, Jim, in Buffalo, no one's going to go quietly today. From 5 yards out, Bernie Parmalee finds the end zone, and about 9 minutes or so remaining to be played. It's a 20-20 tie, the Dolphins and the Bills, Jim.
AFC East drama in Orchard Park as the Dolphins come back to tie the Bills again. Here in Houston, the Oilers are leading the Jets 13-0.
Boy, that's an ugly place to play in December.
Oh, Buffalo? Not for the Bills. They think of it as a beautiful place to play in December. On first down, after the 14-yard completion from McNair to Wycheck, Gary Brown has the football. Gain of about 3, and you see the clock rolling toward the end of the third period here.
And the Oilers right now, they've got to just find a way to get a nice, consistent drive going, eat some time off the clock, finish out this quarter, start to eat some time in the fourth quarter, because they're starting to see that the Jets may be finding some rhythm in their offense.
And the play clock shows 14 as the game clock clicks down toward the end of the third quarter. So that'll be it for period number 3. We'll be back after these messages from your local station to this point in Houston by the Oilers.
You know, I've been through a season like this. We were 2-14 with the Patriots one year, and I tell you what, it's very difficult to keep everybody's head in the ball game. You can get a couple of guys who stay professional, but man, it is really hard to stay focused on the game,
especially in December. Meanwhile, the Oilers have enthusiasm playing with rookie quarterback Steve McNair. McNair completes a short pass here to Roderick Lewis. Bobby Houston drags him down. Here's a look at a game summary so far. 76 yards of total offense for the Jets.
I mean, that's just amazing. They haven't been able to get the running game going, and obviously Adrian Morrell not being in the game may have affected that a little bit, but still, Boomer Esiason as a quarterback, you're going to expect, I expect, because I know the guy, I've played against him, there'd be more offense, and I guess that's one of the reasons Rich Kotite says next year we got to get some wide receivers for him.
Jets finished with a loss here last year in a game that Esiason described as a tank job. He was furious at some of his teammates about it, notably Johnny Mitchell. On third down here, McNair throws complete to Chris Sanders, rookie to rookie. Aaron Glenn on the coverage, but Sanders, the star rookie wideout, with a good cut in front of Glenn.
And he had two guys basically at different depth, and he could have hit either one of them in line, Derek Russell and Chris Sanders, and goes for the deeper man. Both guys open.
Well, he can throw the out pattern pretty well, huh?
No, I tell you what, he's got good accuracy. And the one thing is that I'm seeing too, he has a good awareness of where the defender is in his coverage of the receiver. He can get the ball away. He can get the ball to the side away from the coverage man.
Oilers have had excellent field position through most of the game. And here they have 1st and 10 inside the Jet 35. To give to Gary Brown. And Brown has a gain of about 4 down to the 31. Hugh Douglas making the stop for the Jets. Both teams will be in the market for wide receivers, most particularly the Jets. And here's a list of the key free agents at that position. None of them such a lights-out choice that you would risk body and soul and budget to get him, right?
Right. But, you know, you look at the Oilers, and they're not in that desperate a need. I mean, with Haywood Jeffries and Chris Sanders, you know, rookie this year. But the one thing they did say, they need some depth. They need to know that they have a 3rd and a 4th receiver that they can go to.
Jets key wideout this year has been rookie free agent Wayne Corbett. Naked bootleg. They had planned to use it, and McNair gets extra yardage by keeping his feet in bounds. He took a hard tackle as a result, and the crowd appreciates the big play on the naked boot by the rookie QB.
They love it, and Jeff Fisher says, you know what, we don't want the guy to run in passing situations. We want him to stay in there, be able to move in the pocket, but he goes, there will be sometimes he's going to run that naked boot. He's going to have nobody to block him, nothing in front of him. It's going to be all him going for the yardage, and here you see.
Number 64 reports as an eligible receiver.
Good quickness, good speed.
Is eligible.
And Hugh Douglas with the out-of-bounds body slam on McNair, but McNair will take it for the 13-yard gain and the first down. Now the Oilers use a timeout with 12:35 to go in the game.
That's their first charge timeout.
That's the first charge timeout, that's right. So you look at Rich Kotite along the sideline, perhaps mystified by his lethargic Jets today.
Number 64 is eligible.
They have just announced that number 64, Eric Norgaard, is going to be eligible. Fisher told us they'll be using 3 tight ends, Norgaard being the 3rd tight end.
Here's the 3 tight end formation with Marion Butts as the lone setback behind McNair. Plenty of time for McNair to throw in the end zone, and it's almost picked off by Ron Carpenter. He hung it up just a little bit, trying to get it to Travis Hanna. Flag down.
Yeah, they told us that they were going to be going to, they got a holding defensively against the Jets, but they told us they're going to be using that situation with the 3 tight ends, Marion Butts in the backfield, to try and just pound away on the line of scrimmage.
Contact on the defense, number 31, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Call is against Aaron Glenn for that little grab against Travis Hanna as Hanna went by.
Well, I mean, he did get his hand on him. It wasn't like it was incidental contact, but as Hanna makes the move, as he turns upfield, Glenn tries to grab onto, because he knows that he's been beaten. He's got to do something to try and maintain some contact and closeness to the receiver.
Fabulous stop and go by Hanna.
Very nice. Nice little spin move.
First play of the game for Travis, who has not been a target at any other time during the day. The Jets have been thunderously hurt by interference penalties. Again, they go with the 3 tight end formation. This time Marion Butts goes forward for a gain of about 3. Matt Brock makes the stop for the Jets.
Now that's what we expected. I tell you what, Jeff Fisher loves Marion Butts. He said this guy during his day off on Tuesdays, he'll come in, he'll lift. He said he usually runs 6 miles every day off that he has, and is just so into the conditioning and just staying and being a part of this team. You know, he just didn't fit into the system in New England, didn't gel with the San Francisco 49ers, and everybody thought, you know, maybe it's not the same without the Bernstein in San Diego, but seems like Jeff Fisher likes him here.
He's only averaging 2.5 yards per carry. On this play, Brown is back in the game at tailback, and Marvin Washington, leading tackler among the Jets defensive linemen, wraps Brown up for a short gain, and now McNair will be looking at an obvious passing situation, 3rd and 7, with the football at the 9-yard line.
Now, when Jeff Fisher said that they're going to use the 3 tight end set, again, it was because he felt that the defensive front 4, the interior, was a little undersized. They didn't have the strength to hold up to just a continued pounding. Felt they had some good support on the outside, so they worked the edges pretty well, but the inside was susceptible.
Houston leads 13-0 after a scoreless 3rd quarter. Brown on 3rd down gets the ball on a draw play, and the Oiler fans are a little bit restive about the fact that Jeff Fisher didn't go for a touchdown there. Eric Howard made the stop for the Jets, and now Del Greco will come on with the field goal unit.
Well, good job by Eric Howard, you know, one of those guys that came over from the Giants, making the big move to the Jets. But Howard working underneath a pull block by Bruce Matthews to get in there and get a hold on Gary Brown.
And clearly Fisher was thinking, hey, the way my defense is stopping the Jet offense, if I get it to 16-0 and the Jets have to score 3 times, they're not going to do it.
Exactly. So he's just playing the percentages.
24-yard field goal try upcoming for Del Greco. And the Oilers continue playing it safe with the rookie quarterback at the helm and making it pay off as Del Greco's 3rd field goal of the day stretches the lead for McNair and company over the Jets to 16-0 over the Jets, who have looked totally impotent on offense and don't look as though they're going to threaten to win a game in which they trail 16-0 in the 4th. Ron Carpenter is belted down by number 51 Lemansky Hall and number 27 Odie Harris. And next Sunday on NBC Sports, Dan Marino will continue to try to stoke the fires of Miami's ambition as he tries to help them rebound and reach the playoffs. The Fish will be traveling to St. Louis to take on the Rams. Second-year wide receiver Isaac Bruce has the Gateway City on its feet. Bruce, number 2 in NFL receiving yardage. Tremendous test for Miami's defense. Dolphins and the Rams next Sunday here on NBC Sports. Have you seen the record-breaking Isaac Bruce?
I sure have. I'll tell you what, that was, talking about Pro Bowl, that was a hard area to pick. NFC wide receivers.
No, I was going to say, if you do poorly today, Bob, you'll be forced to pick NFC wide receivers for the Pro Bowl.
Don't
and go to every NFC locker room and try to explain why you chose who you did.
68, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
And despite the fact that Kenny Davidson ran across the line of scrimmage, it was 68 Bach who drew the flag, so 5 more yards against the Jets. And a look at the doubleheader next Sunday here on NBC. Pittsburgh, Green Bay, leading our list of games at 12:30, and then the second half of the doubleheader, you saw Miami, St. Louis, and the Oakland game. On second down, Esiason throws complete to number 89, Charles Wilson, and Torrey Hunter is there to make the stop, and it'll be about half the distance toward the first down. They'll have second down coming up. That, of course, was 1st and 15. Gain of 6, make it 2nd and 9.
And the Jets are going to make some plays here because the Oilers are going to allow them a little bit of leeway. They just don't want to hit them with any big moves. And, you know,
very dangerous to Moore there as Henry Ford twists his lower body up in the air while the rest of the players continue to wrench his upper body, but Moore's lucky enough to get up. Eddie Robinson, number 50, was there along with Barrow.
You know, the one thing I'm watching, Jim, and especially on the field goal rush, when the Jets were rushing the field goal against the Oilers, I'd say 9 out of the 11 guys were standing still. Nobody was working. It just seems like the fight has gone out of these guys.
Hard game. Pretty tough to play when you're going nowhere. Esiason down the field, and Krebet can't hold on. It's the kind of catch that the tough rookie has been making all year long.
You're exactly right. That's what has brought him to the forefront. That is what has made him the great receiver that he's become this year. And today, even he is not having the success. You can see the guys sitting on the side and just shaking their heads. They just can't believe how inept everything is going for them today.
Brian Hansen will kick it away again for the Jets. Mel Gray waits at his 25-yard line. Out of bounds. So even when the Oilers make a mistake, it doesn't redound to the advantage of the Jets. It'll be Houston football at their 15, leading 16-0 when we come back.
Boomer Esiason and the New York Jets, and the one thing we're seeing is a lot of heads shaking. They're just can't believe that they have to go through this once again.
It has become a regular occurrence for the Jets in Houston. They've lost the last 4 against the Oilers. They're headed for 0 for 5. On first down from the 15. They're giving to Rodney Thomas. Matt Brock still playing hard for the green and white.
You know, congratulations to Matt Brock, because, you know, something happens. Losing Jim can be infectious. You know, you get out there, and even as the game starts, you go in there with hope and excitement about possibly changing things around and getting a win. But if things don't go well right away in the beginning of the game, in the back of your mind at least, you start thinking, oh no, here we go again. And so, you know, when you've only won 3 games, so easily you can fall into that frame of mind like, here, oh no, here we go again.
Haywood Jeffries in motion on second down 11 for the Oilers. Thomas breaks it out, and we'll have first down yardage and more across the 25 to the 26.
A beautiful run by Rodney Thomas. Got kind of stuck up in the backfield, but watch him make this little jump to the side. He'll take the ball and just a little hop to the side, finds an open lane, and just accelerates. And that's why he was one of the top running backs this year, not only just for the Oilers, but in the AFC.
Rookie out of Texas A&M. Maybe another one comes out of Texas A&M next year if Leland McElroy elects to apply for the draft. So let's see the numbers on Thomas today. 12-yard gain on that play. First down, Oilers at the 26. Clock running with 7:47 to go. Good tackle, number 21, Victor Green, coming up to stop Thomas in his tracks.
And it's a good thing he did, too, because there was a big old hole opening up there. The linebacker had been pinned about 5 yards off the line of scrimmage. He was about to turn up when Victor Green slashed in from the outside and undercut him.
Green, as we mentioned before, leading tackler on the Jets this year, just as his counterpart Blaine Bishop, strong safety for the Oilers, has led them in the tackle category.
Now, Victor Green, you got to give it to Victor Green and Matt Brock, 2 guys that we've seen be very active, you know, as well as Marvin Jones also been very active today, but really have not given up on this game.
Second down 9. McNair this time with plenty of time to throw, and Sanders with another acrobatic catch. Aaron Glenn on the coverage, but what a phenomenal capacity for making tough catches Chris Sanders has shown all year. And who knew? A rookie out of Ohio State who played there in the shadow of his teammate Joey Galloway and has emerged as a star in this league.
But watch the concentration. This ball is going to bounce off the back of Aaron Glenn's pads. Right there off the back of his shoulder pads and helmet. And Chris Sanders just so focused and concentrated on the ball. Great awareness. Beautiful. Again, nice move. That's one of the things he's learned so far this year. You got to be more physical to the line, but look at the concentration.
53-yard catch and run by Sanders is going to make McNair's passing statistics look a lot better in the newspaper tomorrow. Rodney Thomas with the football on first down, and again the Jets are able to stack up the running play, and here comes Chris Sanders back onto the field.
Well, nice job defensively. The defense at times swarmed in very nice and really had a good read, shed their blocks well, and got in and make a good play.
Sanders came into the game with 31 catches, averaging 22.5 yards per catch, 9 TDs. In a lowercase way, he's sort of the Isaac Bruce of the AFC in the sense that he's emerged unexpectedly and is a super big play receiver. Second and 12 after Thomas's loss, and another catch by Sanders, and he's out of bounds at the 2-yard line, working on Otis Smith. They've got the makings of a great pass and catch combo here with McNair and Sanders.
And once again, they come after McNair. Blitzing, picked up once again. Good pickup up front. But Sanders, just watch a break to the outside, just catches Otis Smith, flat-footed.
Number 64 is eligible.
Otis Smith has to turn his body all the way around and can't keep up with Chris Sanders.
3 catches for 82 yards in the game for Sanders. Norgard now eligible. Number 64 is an eligible receiver lining up at tight end. They've got first and goal from the 2-yard line. Oilers signal touchdown. No striped shirts do so. It was Butts with the football. Now, I think they're going to be about 6 inches short of the goal line.
Eric Howard and Marvin Jones both getting good penetration there to cut Butts, but just didn't, you'll see here, he just wasn't able to cross the line. A good cut there. Watch Marvin Jones come in there. They're able to keep him out. Yeah, the ball lands on about the half-a-yard line.
Jets are looking at falling to 3 and 12 for the season. Second down goal. Butts could have scored from Dallas on that play.
Well, in the short yardage situation, defenses are going to just work and try and undercut the line of scrimmage. You start stretching that line to the right or to the left, at that time to the right, to the right. Watch, you'll see the guys up front defensively just trying to get some penetration. But as they stretch everything to the right, a hole opens up, and Butts has plenty of room to slip through.
Kevin Donnelly, Irv Eaton, Martin Stepnoski with the blocking up front for Marion Butts. He gets the short touchdown run. McNair's offense puts another TD on the board, mostly thanks to the fabulous work of Chris Sanders, the wide receiver. Del Greco will try to stretch the lead to 23-0. 4 minutes, 35 seconds to go in the last NFL game, in all likelihood to be played in the Astrodome, and the Oilers are headed toward a blowout win. In the Astrodome, they trail 23-0. Go, Bob.
And Jim, I'll tell you what, not only is it hard to finish off a season like this, but I'm telling you what, the off season seems like it goes on forever. Because there's always coaches calling. They want to make sure that things are getting fixed. You know, it's just when you don't have that much to look forward to, it makes it a very long off season.
Kickoff goes to Jeff Sidner, and Sidner is across the 20 to about the 25. Oilers still playing hard, bring him down there. Number 83, Malcolm Sebron, downfield to make the tackle. Oiler tradition began in 1960. That was George Blanda throwing here to Billy Cannon. An 88-yard scoring play, the longest play in Oiler playoff history. It was in the fourth quarter of the first AFL championship game in which the Oilers beat the Los Angeles Chargers here in Houston's Jefferson Stadium, 24-16. They came on to win the second AFL championship the following year in 1961 and played in the championship game again in the third year against the Dallas Texans. On first down, Boomer Esiason throws to his road roommate Johnny Mitchell. Blaine Bishop makes the stop as Mitchell has first down yardage across the 30 to the 34, and all the Jets are looking for at this point, Bob, is a chance to make the scoreboard look a little bit more respectable.
Yeah, you never want to leave the field with a 0 on your side of the score.
Make it the 36, where it was a first down and a gain of 11 yards. Now Esiason looks deep again for Mitchell. Coverage by number 27, Odie Harris, and Mitchell didn't get a chance to look back at the football early enough to make a play.
You know, it's just amazing watching that flashback. You know, this old game in black and white, a long time ago in Houston, to think that whole era is coming to an end here, potentially, if that move to Nashville goes through.
I find it kind of sad. And, I mean, as recently as a couple of years ago, this was one of the strongest teams in the league, as you look at the Earl Campbell remembrance up there.
Jim, when I was with the Browns, we hated to come down to the House of Pain. I mean, this was a scary place to play.
Esiason throws in traffic to Fred Baxter. Baxter short of first down yardage at about the 42 of the 43. Jets will work without a huddle as they try to tack on a late score here and avert the shutout. Jacksonville fell to 3-12 today, or at least is headed toward falling to 3-12. So the Jets and Jacksonville are still in a dead heat race for the first pick in the upcoming draft. Because of the schedule strength difference, Jacksonville would get the pick if both teams wind up 3-13.
Well, you know, they're working hard, and I don't think anybody plays to get the first draft.
There was a false start on the offense, number 62, 5-yard penalty, still third down.
No, I'm sure they don't.
And you know, this is amazing. Even in a situation, because like I was going to say, with the Jets, even in this drive, even if they're able to score, there's still an asterisk by it. Because the Oilers at this point are sitting back, and they're going to give them room to make the short pass and just let them eat up some clock. Hey, they'll give them yardage. They'll even give them a score as long as it takes, you know, three and a half minutes.
A few members of the crowd trying to work up a chant of anger and vituperation against Bud Adams, but even that doesn't draw much enthusiasm here in Houston. Jets now over 100 yards and penalties for the game as Esiason works on 3rd and 9 from the 38 and overthrows, and it's almost picked off by Odie Harris. It was behind Johnny Mitchell, and this has not been one of Boomer Esiason's good days.
No, he's been way off on his throws, very inaccurate as the day has progressed. But I mean, you can't put it all on him either. He just doesn't have the targets. You know, he has a couple of guys that he can throw to. They've got to work hard in the offseason. They've got to find some free agents, you know, work the free agent market, see what they can do to kind of shore up that wide receiver. Hey, Rich Kotite said, I would love to have wide receivers. I'd love to be able to run a 3 wide receiver set. I just don't have the personnel.
So the Jets will go for it on 4th down 9. Esiason down the middle, and the catch is made. Bishop on the coverage against Johnny Mitchell, but Mitchell, and Boomer was locked onto him all the way, makes the big catch for first down yardage into Houston territory at the 41.
Well, that's the one play, the one pass play that's been working regularly is just putting Mitchell kind of up that slot, either up the slot or having him pull up short at about 10 yards, usually finding him open and getting the ball off to him.
Playoff picture gradually coming into focus in the AFC. Buffalo Bills, if they can win today in Orchard Park, will clinch the AFC East. Pittsburgh and Kansas City have already clinched. The pitch rolls over the middle of Mitchell, and he's going to steam into the end zone for a touchdown. Well executed play.
Hey, go with what got you to the dance, that's for sure. They've been working Mitchell right up the seam all day long. I was a little surprised it was a play action, because you actually have to have your run game working for people to bite on the play action that dramatically, but worked out very nice. A nice throw right down the seam.
5th touchdown catch of the year for Mitchell. 16th touchdown pass of the year for Boomer Esiason. And the Jets will line up and go for 2. The mathematical formula for winning the game would be 3 touchdowns and 3 two-point conversions. So if they can accomplish this, they'll be 1/3 of the way there with 2:27 to go in the game. Mitchell will line up tight on the wing on the left side. Moore goes in motion. Babette in the slot. Esiason looking across the middle, throws short of the end zone to Fred Baxter, and a flag goes down.
Well, Blaine Bishop was all over his back, and I don't know if they're going to call him, because they were kind of hand fighting in there, fighting over who had possession of the goal line.
Interference would move the ball to the 1-yard line.
There is no foul for defensive pass interference. The extra point is no good.
Okay.
Okay. So it stays 23-6, and let's take another look at the well-executed touchdown play.
There's that fake pitch, and he's going to throw it right down the slot. Johnny Mitchell, and it's worked before today, just haven't used it that much.
Eddie Robinson, the linebacker, in coverage, and Mitchell had half a step, which was all he needed with the well-thrown ball.
Yeah, I mean, he was close enough to cover, but he had no help on the inside. They had all kind of slid over following the play action and needed to react back. But once Mitchell got inside on Eddie Robinson, it was all over.
Several members of the crowd have stayed to root the Oilers home here with 2:27 left on the clock, and Houston headed toward a potential 6th victory of the year. Johnny Mitchell reacting as though the TD was manna from heaven, and you can see that the Buffalo Bills have pinned Miami with its 7th loss of the season, and with that, the Bills emerge victorious from that AFC East struggle. They have clinched the division yet again.
And with under 2 minutes left in the game, Brian Cox gone. Ejected for fighting.
Shock.
What a shock.
Playoff picture. And you see now the 3 teams which have clinched their divisions in the AFC: Kansas City, Pittsburgh, and Buffalo. Indianapolis waiting to play the Chargers in the RCA Dome. Oakland tonight in the Kingdome against Seattle. Miami drops to 8-7. Their picture darkens. And we'll wait to see what happens to Denver, Seattle, the other AFC teams still in the hunt. Cincinnati losing today to Cleveland. That will knock the Bengals out of playoff contention. Onside kick coming for the Jets. Number 5, Don Silvestri, getting ready to kick it with the left foot. Big bounce. Oiler players make sure it goes out of bounds off their hands. Derek Russell and Haywood Jeffries alert enough to leap into the air and tap that ball out of bounds. Good play.
Good play, good awareness. I tell you what, these kickers really have gotten this down to a science where they get that roll and then that big bounce right up in the air, and it becomes basically a jump ball. But the Oilers very aware of getting it out of bounds.
Now, and Mike Carey and his crew are going to decide what to do with the football. Whether the Jets will have to kick it again on the illegal procedure call that attends that out-of-bounds kick. Let's take another look.
Like I said, it gets that bounce, and it gets that big bounce where it becomes a jump ball. And watch Haywood Jeffries just getting a nice tap in.
Illegal bat by the receiving team, number 84. 10-yard penalty, re-kick.
Actually, if this was the NBA, it would have been a tap in. This was a tap out.
So all that means is the Jets will attempt the onside kick again, this time from 10 yards farther upfield at the 40. It's Brad Baxter with the look of disappointment along the sideline. Jets offense struggled all day long until that recent touchdown drive. NBA doubleheader coming up on Christmas Day at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. San Antonio against Phoenix. Hakeem Olajuwon and the Houston Rockets go to Orlando to take on Shaq and the Magic. It starts with NBA Showtime at 3 p.m. Eastern. David Robinson and the Spurs going to Phoenix to battle Barkley and the Suns. And the Magic Kingdom sees the Christmas battle between Hakeem and Shaquille.
But now we get to see another jump ball right here on our onside kick.
Good call, fabulous Bobby G. Haywood Jeffries again reaches for the football and does the same thing. And I guess he's going to draw the same penalty.
Well, he's just doing what he's told.
Haywood, incidentally, said that he has feelings of nostalgia about this last game in the Astrodome, and he wants to communicate with the fans in some way. Another tap out.
Same thing. Oh, they went after him that time. The Jets coaches said, get him.
Illegal bat on the receiving team. 10-yard penalty, re-kick.
So local fans will be watching.
Team cannot bat the ball forward.
Local fans will be watching Jeffries at the end of the game to see what he does. He has said that he'd like to run around the field and try to shake hands with all the fans in the stands. That'll take about 3 minutes. Or that perhaps he'd like to find some other way to share his feelings with them. And he said, I don't want them to remember me just as a football player, but as someone who cared about this city as my home.
And he has. He's been here for so long. He has been a fixture. And we've talked about all the good times that the Oilers have gone through here in Houston. And he has been a part of that. And, you know, and I think that the fans really respond. I mean, he's such an affable guy that you can't help but like the guy.
And the smile is sufficient evidence right there. If he can stay with the Oilers next year and keep on rolling, Haywood will have a chance to pass Ernest Givens and become the all-time leading Houston Oilers receiver. He passed Drew Hill this year. Silvestri's third onside kick try. And And this time, the man wearing Gibbons' old number 81, Chris Sanders, the rookie star, grabs the football and brings an end to the onside madness.
I think the Jets were just tired of running down and making the hits. But I'm wondering, Jim, if they check the fans through the metal detectors coming in here, bringing possibly wrenches and screwdrivers, taking home some souvenir seats.
It has happened at other ballparks, they tell me.
Well, they were saying today that in Cleveland they were actually checking. They were going to check for just those things, for tools, so people wouldn't remove seats and benches and take souvenirs home with them.
If you've just joined us recently and you're thinking the crowd has thinned out because of the Oilers' commanding 23-6 lead, no, that's not the case. What you're looking at is the crowd which has stayed here through most of the day. Butts on first down. And Marion's a little upset at himself because he thought he was about to break a long one. And the 2-minute warning arrives in Houston.
After 2-minute warning.
We'll be back to the Astrodome for the last 2 minutes of this one right after these messages. Butts at second down 3 from the 42. And Butts moves the pile forward enough for a first down as K.S. Bud Adams looks on at his team's last 2 minutes of play in Houston, Texas, where they originated in 1960. This man was one of the original owners in the American Football League. It's quite a history in pro football. And we're going to take a look at maybe the emblematic Houston Oiler player of the 70s and 80s, Earl Campbell.
Boy, I tell you what, this guy was amazing. I played against him so many times and just ran people over. Never me, but other people.
The Tyler Rose. You made 18 tackles against him in the Cotton Bowl when you played for Notre Dame against his Texas team, January 1, 1978.
I think that's before he really knew how to run. But I know this. They used to tell defensive backs, you got to tackle him low. Go for his legs. And then they'd go for his legs. They'd knock him down. Earl would get up and jog back to the huddle, and the defensive back would usually lay there.
Well, then after the glory of the Campbell years, when the Oilers were contenders, they had the team that Warren Moon led here as recently as 1992 and 93. Outstanding teams. On first down, McNair gives to Marion Butts, and Butts piles forward. That was an excellent team in 93 that went to Buffalo and took a 35-3 halftime lead over the Bills in the playoff game, and then they suffered that monumental second half collapse, which has sort of haunted the franchise ever since. The following year, they went 12-4, lost a playoff game in the second round here to Joe Montana and the Chiefs, and after that, Warren Moon was traded. Sean Jones and William Fuller left as free agents. Mike Munchak quit, and there, Bob, went the heart of the Oilers.
Right, and now we're looking at what they're hoping can be the new heart, the transplant for the Oilers in Nashville, I guess. Steve McNair, who came in and, and really didn't expect flashy numbers and a big huge day from him. But he went out there. He showed that he's a guy that can sit back in the pocket, maybe move around a little bit back there, make it hard for a defense to get him, and play a good, solid game.
Those numbers quite similar to the ones he put up in the second half against Detroit last week. But today, playing against a blitzing defense designed to confuse him, he's done reasonably well. Oilers keeping it on the ground and hoping to make the clock run, and the Jets are using the obligatory clock-stopping timeouts. And a minute and 37 seconds remaining. Meanwhile, Rich Kotite is headed for his 19th loss in the last 22 games for the teams he's coached. The numbers on that, he lost his last 7 as head coach of the Eagles last year. They are 3-12 this year. It adds to 3 wins in the last 22 games for Kotite coached teams.
And we could tell from talking to him yesterday, was not real happy, although resigned to the fact that he just didn't have the people that he needed. And so this offseason is going to be very important for him. I think he's having an opportunity to test some of the mettle of some of the guys that he wants to keep on this team, but he's definitely going to have to find some people in the offseason.
Rich Kotite saying to us yesterday he could very easily see Boomer Esiason as the quarterback of the Jets next year if the Jets can persuade Boomer to stay. Boomer wants to find out if he has market value around the league. McNair gives to Butts, and Butts plows forward for about 4, so they'll be a yard short of the first down. And the clock runs with 1:27 to go.
The fans getting their last booze in.
And And now the Oilers will bring the punting unit onto the field. Rich Camarillo about to make his last punt in Houston. Bruce Matthews playing his last game here, and what a player he's been in an Oiler uniform for 13 years. Going to make his 8th Pro Bowl appearance this year, and he said, hey, I'll never live in Tennessee. This is my home. Am I sad about us leaving? Yeah. In some ways, it breaks my heart. But I'm a pro football player, and I expect to go to Memphis and play for this team next year.
And you can tell, you know he's a pro football player, and he's a professional about it from the fact that they've asked him to play every position along that offensive line over the years, and he has definitely done well in every single position.
The anger here today is against Bud Adams, not against guys like Ray Childress and Bruce Matthews, the others who have given what they've got to the Oilers over these last 10 or 12 years in Houston.
It looks like the Oilers are going to bring back the offense and go for it on 4th down.
Crowd responds to that. Jeff Fisher making a decision to give the fans in Houston what they want and go for it one more time on 4th and 1. Football at the 46-yard line, and everyone in the Astrodome rising to applaud Fisher.
Well, you know, and not just on this play, but I think the fans had to really applaud Jeff Fisher for the job that he's done.
Reports as an eligible receiver. Number 64 is eligible.
So Norgard will be an eligible receiver as he lines up as the 3rd tight end. They'll go with that 3 tight end step. Butts has the running back. Jets will stick 8 men up front. Butts is hit and fights forward for the 1st down. Kept his knee off the ground and definitely got the 1st down, and Oiler players celebrate on the field.
Well, that's kind of the story of the day. How things have gone. The Oilers just working just that much harder, just going that much farther to get a little bit extra.
And now the clock runs with 24 seconds to go, and the play clock shows 18, so they must run one more play. Have to expect that they'll let the play clock run out, accept the 5-yard penalty, and then snap it and let McNair take a knee, and that'll be the end of it. 3, 2, 1, 0. Illegal procedure penalty. No flag thrown. Officials are going to let this one end. That does it from the Astrodome, where the Houston Oilers have beaten the New York Jets 23-6 to go away with a victory in what is almost certain to be the last game that the Oilers will play in the 8th wonder of the world, their longtime home stadium, the Astrodome. And Haywood Jeffries goes to the fans to say good.